Chapter 1890. Although the Eastern imperial family was weak, a centipede would not fall over even if it was dead. They still had power. At least, they had no problem dealing with an ordinary marquis. Besides, Dongfang Moyu was already at the soul formation stage and was known as the Empire's war goddess. Even Purple Marquis was slightly inferior to her. Marquis Shanshui, since the eldest princess has made such a judgment, we should trust her judgment. The simulation test has just begun. Why are you in such a hurry? Purple Marquis hurriedly persuaded. Marquis Shanshui still wanted to argue, but when he heard the second half of the sentence, he gave up. Yes, Zi Yunxiao hasn't made a move yet. If he deals with the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family, he can still step on him and avenge his son. If Purple Marquis Shanshui grows up and protects himself in front of the emperor, I think he can still keep his title and fief. Thinking of this, Marquis Shanshui stared at Jiang Tian and said hatefully, I'll let you be proud for a moment. My son is not a genius, but there are countless geniuses in the empire. Your disciple will be beaten to death sooner or later. Without the protection of the Jinyuan Marquis, you won't have a good ending. Sigh, Marquis Shanshui, you're too stingy. We are all trusted subordinates of the Imperium, feudal lords of the border. Any progress made by any successor of a feudal lord is a good thing for the country and a cause for celebration. At this time, Purple Marquis laughed softly and said to Lin Hanqing solemnly, Congratulations, Brother Lin. Lin Yang has finally improved and stepped into the nascent soul stage. It can be said that he reached the sky in one step, a carp leaping over the dragon gate. It's really worth celebrating. Yes, Lin Yang is so promising. He can definitely keep his title and fief in the hidden dragon trials. Brother Lin, you can celebrate in advance. His speed of advancement is incredible. I remember that just a year ago, this kid was still at the core formation stage. Isn't that so? He's been stuck at the core formation stage for a while and can't take another step forward. This time, well, it's simply amazing the world with a single brilliant feat. Brother Lin Yang doesn't seem to be married yet. Tiske Marquis, what are you thinking? Lin Yang and Fang Goyu were a pair, childhood sweethearts. Do you want your daughter to get involved as well? The Grand Princess made the final decision, affirming Lin Yang's achievements. The Marquis of Shanshui did not dare to deny it, and even the Marquis of Purple Robe respectfully congratulated him. For a moment, the attitude of the nobles present changed greatly. They looked at Lin Hanqing and his son with a higher degree of respect. The sound of congratulations resounded everywhere. Some even wanted to propose marriage to Lin Yang. Oh my God, I really won. Brother Zhang's guidance is simply like the guidance of an immortal, and it allowed me to ascend to the limit. Lin Yang couldn't believe it, as if he was in a dream. After a long time, he finally came back to his senses and flew to his seat. He excitedly raised his wine cup and said, Mister, let me toast you. Then, he drank the wine in one gulp. Jiang Tian had only dabbled a little. Haha, thank you for your support. This is all thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Jiang. As the saying goes, a great teacher produces a great disciple. Lin Hanqing enjoyed the admiring and envious gazes of the other dukes as well as the waves of congratulatory words, and he felt extremely happy in his heart. He stood up with his head held high, and then he cupped his hands towards the surroundings. But when he saw the Marquis of Purple Robe looking at him with a smile that was not a smile, and Zi Yunxiao's eyes were also gloomy, Lin Hanqing suddenly realized that the Marquis of Purple Robe's words had a hidden meaning. One had to know that Lin Yang was only at the peak of the gold core stage, and half-step nascent soul stage was barely enough. But the Marquis of Purple Robe deliberately said that Lin Yang was in the nascent soul stage. This was to pave the way for the upcoming competition. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but shiver. He quickly smiled and cupped his hands. Brother Purple Robe, you are wrong this time. Lin Yang is only at the peak of the gold core stage, not even half-step nascent soul stage. On this point, Grand Princess Mo, you can see it clearly. Indeed. The Grand Princess sipped her tea and nodded slightly. Lin Yang is indeed at the peak of the gold core stage, without the slightest sign of nascent soul stage, nor control the forbidden area, nor touch the laws. There's no doubt about that. She had experienced many battles between the dynasties and knew the conflicts between the nobles. She also knew that the Marquis of Purple Robe's ambition. She immediately judged that the Marquis wanted his son, Ziyunshao, to crush Lin Yang. But Ziyunshao had already stepped into the nascent soul stage. Nascent soul stage cultivators were called heavenly monarchs. Once they entered the nascent soul stage, they were in control of their own fate. Nascent soul stage heavenly monarchs could even control the laws of heaven and earth, form their own forbidden area, and have all kinds of incredible abilities. Although the Saint Origin continent belonged to the central galaxy, where the laws were strict and the laws were firm, nascent soul stage heavenly monarchs still had the power to move mountains and fill seas, and the power to crush cities with a roar. Nascent soul stage, even half-step nascent soul stage, was fundamentally different from gold core stage. Gold core stage cultivators only controlled primordial chi and used true essence to form Dharma form. Compared to the forbidden area of nascent soul stage cultivators, it was on a completely different level. If one forcefully fought against it, it would be like an ant trying to shake a tree or an egg hitting a stone. Because of the huge gap between gold core and nascent soul stage cultivators were exempted from the hidden dragon trials and kept their titles and fiefs. This was to prevent the Jindan heirs from fighting against the nascent soul geniuses, resulting in casualties. You Princess Royal, you are underestimating Lin Yang, this child. You are also underestimating Mr. Jiang, this famous teacher. Mr. Jiang is a miraculous man. He cured the princess's chronic illness and helped Lin Yang reach the ultimate level. His knowledge and ability are far beyond ours. Purple Marquis looked at Jiang Tian meaningfully and smiled. When I look at this Mr. Jiang, I feel like I'm in the depths of an abyss, unfathomable. I think he has a way to hide his nascent soul stage energy and suppress his power. We thought Lin Yang was only a core formation cultivator, but after fighting with Li Ludao, we found out that he was a peak stage golden core cultivator. Jiang Tian took a sip of his tea with a faint smile on his face, refusing to comment. Purple Mark didn't mind Jiang Tian's arrogance and indifference. He continued with a smile, then I can't help but ask, is this Lin Yang's limit? I don't think so. He might already be a nascent soul cultivator. Even if he's just a golden core cultivator, he's still a nascent soul cultivator. Purple Marquis, you're too imaginative. My son is useless. Lin Hanqing felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. He felt uncomfortable and quickly smiled. Lin Hanqing, whether he's a nascent soul cultivator or not, will know after a fight. Purple Marquis was a bit impatient. Also, you should know that in the hidden dragon trials, it's a big crime for a duke's descendant to falsely report their power. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. He aggressively asked, "You're so secretive. Could it be that you're hiding your son's cultivation level because you want him to suddenly explode in power during the hidden dragon trials and kill the heirs of the dukes who have conflicts with you? You're using your position to avenge your personal grudge, and you're on the same side and attacking those who don't? Or even intensify the conflict between the dukes and the smaller dukes, causing unrest in the empire?" These words were murderous and heartrending. It was simply one high hat after another being placed on him. Not only did he want to raise Lin Yang's power, he also wanted to force him to fight with Ziyunshao. Moreover, if Lin Yang didn't agree to the fight, he would be cursed and Lin Hanqing would be called a schemer with evil intentions. In reality, it was Purple Marquis who wanted to reform the hidden dragon trials. He wanted to use actual combat to suppress the smaller dukes and even intensify the conflict between the dukes and cause unrest in the empire. He wanted to pave the way for the late Emperor Dongfang Jie to regain control of the country. But he put all these crimes on the head of Lin Hanqing, who stood aloof from worldly affairs. Chapter 1891. Lin Hanqing was not good with words. Hearing this, he could only slap the table and laugh. "Purple Marquis, you are the biggest joke in the world. When did I ever think? Since you don't think so, then let's compete." Purple Marquis was still unmoved and smiled sinisterly. Let Lin Yang reveal his background. If he is really a nascent soul, then he can avoid the test. If he is a Jindan, then he can avoid participating in the nascent soul competition and causing unnecessary accidents. Why wouldn't we do it? He threw out a look, and a few of the nobles who supported him immediately jeered. Our Eastern Empire has a strong martial spirit and advocates cultivation. You and I have to work hard, cultivate diligently every day, go to the battlefield to kill the enemy, and fight for the country and the people. Why, when it is your son's turn to compete, you are so evasive. Excessive modesty is excessive pride. Brother Lin, you are so arrogant, aren't you looking down on the other genius heirs? You think they are not worthy to compete with your son. This old man is the first to support Purple Marquis's proposal. Lin Yang wants to strike while the iron is hot and fight again. Let us old fellows see the elegance of the genius heirs. Today is full of distinguished guests, and the eldest princess has personally come. This is the time for Lin Yang to show off his skills and amaze the world. This marquis is very optimistic about him. These people were completely watching the fun, and did not mind the trouble. They wanted to force Lin Yang to fight again and give Purple Marquis a chance to turn the tables. It was like a gamble. Lin Hanqing had already won one round and wanted to take the money and leave, but others had spent so much effort to set up the game, so how could they let you leave the table so easily? They had to continue the gamble and make you, Lin Hanqing, lose everything. Marquis Shanshui smiled with ulterior motives. That's right, it is just a friendly competition, just to liven things up for eldest Princess Mou. Why are you still so evasive? Don't tell me you don't put eldest Princess Mou in your eyes? Arrogant, disrespectful to the royal family. This traitor seemed loyal, and his words did not deviate from the dignity of the royal family, but in fact, he was full of his own calculations. How is this marquis disrespectful to the royal family? How is this arrogant? I'm just afraid that Lin Yang won't be able to defeat him and will be seriously injured. Then, in the future, in the Hidden Dragon trials. Lin Hanqing's face flushed red. He simply wanted to flick his sleeves and leave. This was simply a feast at Hongmen. That's right, I appreciate your kind intentions, my two beloved ministers. However, for the sake of protecting the heirs of the vassals, I still believe that this competition is not suitable to be held. At this moment, Grand Princess Mou couldn't help but laugh bitterly. She extended her jade-like hand and gently waved it as she spoke to stop him. The eldest princess vetoed. Just when everyone thought that the battle was over, the Marquis of Purple Robe and the Marquis of Shanshui sighed gloomily and gritted their teeth, and Lin Hanqing also thought that he had escaped and was secretly rejoicing. An untimely voice abruptly rang out again. Of course, there's nothing wrong with protecting the heirs. Although the eldest princess is kind and considerate, you don't need to worry too much. I believe that Lin Yang will definitely be merciful and know when to stop. He won't kill Ziyunshao. As soon as these words came out, everyone went crazy, and their gazes fell on Jiang Tian, who was in the corner. What does he mean by that? Lin Yang is going to be merciful? Doesn't this mean that he's certain that Lin Yang will definitely win against Ziyunshao? Ziyunshao is a nascent soul heavenly lord. Lin Yang is just a golden core cultivator. This is the difference between heaven and earth, the difference between an immortal and a mortal. Does he have any common sense? For a moment, many vassals looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief, as if they were looking at a madman. This guy is an idiot. Does he really think that he's a rogue cultivator from outside the galaxy? That's right. Even if he pushed Lin Yang to the golden core level quickly, he must have used elixirs and secret arts to forcefully achieve it. His combat power is actually reduced. It's already very lucky for him to be able to defeat Li Ludao. How can he be matched against Ziyunshao, a nascent soul cultivator? It's not an exaggeration to say that compared to Li Ludao, Ziyunshao is a genius. Besides, Li Ludao's dantian was shattered and he barely managed to return to the peak, but his cultivation is definitely unstable. He can't be compared to Ziyunshao at all. This guy is really interesting. This is a godly assist from our teammate. Meanwhile, the vassals in Marquis Purple Robe's camp were gloating and secretly delighted. Could this guy be a spy that Dongfang Jie placed in Lin Hanqing's mansion to help us? That's right. Isn't he giving Lin Yang's head to us? He's here to help us. As for Marquis Purple Robe and Marquis Shanshui, they couldn't wait to hug Jiang Tian warmly and thank him for giving them the head. It's good enough that he won one round. He should stop while he's ahead. Does he really think that he's a master from one of the holy lands and divine sects that can turn something rotten into something magical? Sigh, he's pushing the Lin family into a fire pit. If Lin Yang loses this time, he'll lose everything. That's right. If Lin Yang is injured, then he'll be at a loss in the Hidden Dragon trials. He'll lose his title and fief. After all, the previous battle with Li Ludao was only a simulation. Even if he won against Li Ludao, it would only be a matter of face. As for Lin Hanqing's friends, they all sighed and felt depressed. They felt that Jiang Tian was a pig teammate. This time, Lin Hanqing was probably screwed over miserably. Even Lin Hanqing looked at Jiang Tian, flabbergasted. His heart was in turmoil. Little Princess Dongfang Ying also stared at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes. She couldn't believe it. As for Lin Yang, his face was pale with fright. He winked at Jiang Tian and laughed. Ha, everyone, please don't make a fool of yourself. Our great guest Jiang has drunk too much. Drunken words, you can't take them seriously. Your Highness Eldest Princess, uncles, please don't blame him. If you want to blame someone, blame Marquis Purple Robe's precious drunken immortal wine for being too strong. He kicked Jiang Tian's foot from below. In his spiritual sense, he was about to cry, "Brother, don't hurt me." Zi Yunxiao is a nascent soul cultivator. Even if there were 10 of me, I wouldn't be able to beat one of his fingers. He was really scared to the point of going crazy. It was to the extent that even Eldest Princess Mou felt that Jiang Tian's words were a bit too arrogant. Her pretty face was slightly dignified. She followed Lin Yang's words and said meaningfully, "Minister Jiang wants to liven things up for me. I appreciate your kind intentions, but this consort is also a bit tired from supervising their intense battle. This consort is mentally draining and I'm a bit tired. Next, let's change the taste and have some singing and dancing. I remember that the Southern Borders shuffle dance is very lively and lively. Cough cough. My old arms and legs are a bit sore again. I want someone to massage my legs and shoulders again." Jiang Tian suddenly coughed lightly. He looked up at the sky and said inexplicably. Dongfang Ying stared at Jiang Tian. Her beautiful eyes instantly curved into a cute crescent moon shape, and she directly spat out a mouthful of tea. Others might not know, but they knew very well. Jiang Tian was clearly threatening the eldest princess. If she dared to stop him, if she didn't allow him to fight, he would reveal the bet in front of everyone. He would make her massage his back and shoulders in public, making her lose face. For a moment, Lin Hanqing and his son were in a dilemma. They were helpless. Do you have to compete? Are you a fool? I'm afraid that you'll lose face, so I'm helping you find compensation. You have to force me to shut up, you have to ask for trouble. Eldest Princess Mou was so angry that she gritted her teeth and glared at Jiang Tian. She wished that she could swallow Jiang Tian alive. However, seeing Jiang Tian so determined, she could only chuckle and say, "Sigh, forget it. Singing and dancing, music and decadent music are indeed too cliché for a woman like me. Listening to them makes me sleepy. I'm more interested in a good man's fight. Then let's fight again." Chapter 1892. I'm here to cheer up Princess Royal and make her smile. Sure enough, Zi Yunxiao jumped onto the martial arts field and crossed the distance of a few miles in an instant, winning the cheers of the entire hall. Good. Beautiful. That movement technique is really beautiful. That's the movement technique of the purple cloud palm, cloud stepping steps. Marquis Yunxiao, like father, like son. Zi Yunxiao has the style of his father. The dukes and heirs all cheered. Many of the heirs looked at Zi Yunxiao with complicated gazes of worship and fear. There was a feeling of yearning even though they couldn't reach him. In terms of strength, charm and bearing, Zi Yunxiao was indeed 1,000 times more outstanding than Li Ludao. He was comparable to the geniuses of the four marquis families and was only second to the royal family's crown prince Dongfang Ding. Although my son is not bad, it's all because of hard work. He can't compare to Brother Lin's son, who reached the nascent soul stage in 4 months under the guidance of a famous teacher. That's like a fish leaping over the dragon gate, soaring to the sky. Purple Marquis laughed and glanced at Jiang Tian with a hint of mockery in his complacency. He was clearly saying that Jiang Tian was mediocre and eager for instant benefits. Although he had quickly increased Lin Yang's cultivation, his foundation was not solid enough. In the end, it was just an illusion. On the martial arts field, Zi Yunxiao's face was warm as he cupped his hands politely and said, "Congratulations to Brother Lin Yang for reaching the peak stage of the Golden Core stage. I'm willing to suppress my cultivation to the same level and spar with Brother Lin Yang. I'll stop when the time is right, just to show the elegance of the heirs of the dukes, to promote martial arts and to make Princess Royal smile." His words were full of consideration, but there was a hint of killing intent in the depths of his eyes. Can I go?" Lin Yang's face was pale and panicked. He pulled Jiang Tian's clothes and said pitifully, "I'll die if I go. Can't we just leave? I'm not afraid of being cursed. At worst, it's not like I've only been known as an incompetent hedonist for 1 or 2 days. Too much debt won't weigh me down." What Zi Yunxiao meant by suppressing his cultivation to the Golden Core realm was to not use his soul, laws, or forbidden domain. However, a soul was still a soul at the end of the day. Even his own true essence was 10 times thicker than a peak Golden Core. This was a qualitative change. It could be said that his words were pleasant to hear, but it was still a complete suppression. "Go up. He is no match for you," Jiang Tian said leisurely. In Jiang Tian's opinion, there were many problems with the East Rising Purple Qi. Especially during the process of opening the Dantian and acupoints, condensing the Golden Core and transforming the Dantian into a spirit embryo, there were many mistakes and unnecessary steps. After Jiang Tian improved the technique, not only did Lin Yang's cultivation speed increase, but his amethyst cloud palm and Donghuang finger were also much faster. If a cultivator was a car, then a Golden Core would be the engine. True essence was provided by the Golden Core, gushing out from the Dantian and surging along the meridians to form an attack. The original technique in true essence seemed to have taken many rough and bumpy detours, but after the improvement, it was like a natural moat had become a smooth path, incomparably smooth. Therefore, in Jiang Tian's opinion, even if Zi Yunxiao's true essence was more abundant, it was like a vast ocean being blocked in a river. He could only use 1/100th of it. On the other hand, although Lin Yang's reserves of true essence were not as good as his, he had the upper hand. How could he not win? "Are you for real?" "I'm scared." Lin Yang drank a few mouthfuls of drunken immortal, as if to boost his courage. "Don't tell me you don't believe me?" Jiang Tian was a little annoyed. "When I met you in my previous life, you weren't so cowardly." On the stage, seeing that Lin Yang was still not going up, Zi Yunxiao smiled with his hands behind his back. "Brother Lin Yang, I've heard that you and Fang Goyu were childhood sweethearts, and that your love was as deep as the sea. But Fang Goyu is the daughter of a general, a dignified nascent soul cultivator. Not only is your cultivation poor, you're also as cowardly as a mouse. How can you be worthy of such a beauty? You're courting death." With these words, Lin Yang's eyes immediately turned cold, and an ominous glint shot out. It was as if the little white rabbit had turned into an ancient beast that could swallow the heavens and devour the earth. That's right. Since ancient times, phoenixes have been paired with dragons. How can there be a chicken paired with a phoenix? Lin Yang, if you don't dare to go up, then you're a cowardly rat. How can you be worthy of a phoenix in the sky? The Marquis of Shanshui was also crazily mocking Lin Yang from the side. That's right. The Marquis of Shanshui's analogy is wonderful. It's too vivid. A group of vassals of the Marquis of Purple Robes were all jeering. As for Lin Hanqing, Dongfang Ying, and the eldest princess, when they heard this, they knew that it was going to be bad. Because Lin Yang and Fang Goyu's feelings were too deep, he would definitely fly into a rage for a beauty. "What are you being so arrogant for?" I'll fight you today. Sure enough, Lin Yang smashed the wine cup on the ground, stood up, and flew onto the stage. Hey, brother Lin Yang, that's a real man. Your spirit of not being afraid of death, I'm a little impressed. Seeing Lin Yang go up on stage, Zi Yunxiao's face also revealed a sinister smile. He looked at Jiang Tian and said with a smile, Mr. Jiang, I have to thank you for this divine assistance. You sent this trash up on stage so that I can beat him up and vent my anger for my brother Li Ludao. Zi Yunxiao, you say that others are trash and you think that you're a genius. However, in my eyes, you're just trash. You're far inferior to Lin Yang. Jiang Tian was not polite with him and directly retorted. In his previous life, Jiang Tian had also been humiliated by him many times. However, at that time, Jiang Tian was just a small foundation establishment cultivator. How could he be his opponent? However, in this life, Jiang Tian had returned with the memories of 10,000 years of cultivation. He was incomparably powerful. There was no need for him to do anything. Just Lin Yang, who had been taught by him, would be able to torture him until he wished he was dead. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Good. Let's see how long you can be so rampant. Today, I'll first take care of Lin Yang, then I'll take care of you. Zi Yunxiao also gave a sinister smile. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. As he spoke, his feet moved slightly. His nascent soul trembled and a huge amount of purple vital essence gushed out from his spirit embryo and meridians. They surrounded his body like purple true dragons. His entire body was covered in a dense purple aura like a divine cloud. Purple chi from the east, like a dragon coiling around his body. As expected of the number one genius among the heirs of the southern feudal lords. Dharma. This is the golden core Dharma. Most importantly, these true dragons seem to be corporeal. They're incomparably solid and have the aura of an emperor. It can be said that Zi Yunxiao has grasped the true essence and profound meaning of the Eastern Purple Chi technique. Everyone clicked their tongues and sighed in amazement. Even Lin Hanqing and many other soul formation stage feudal lords were ashamed of their inferiority. When they were in the golden core stage, they did not have such an aura. Lin Yang snorted coldly. He stood still according to the footwork that Jiang Tian had taught him. His eyes narrowed slightly like an old monk in meditation. Lin Yang, are you not going to kneel down and beg for mercy? Don't tell me that you're not afraid of death at all? Zi Yunxiao saw that Lin Yang did not cower even after he had displayed his vital essence and dharma. He could not help but sneer disdainfully. Afraid? If I was afraid, I wouldn't have gone up on stage. Lin Yang suppressed the fear and nervousness in his heart and said through gritted teeth. Today, he was burdened with the glory of his clan, Fang Goyu's feelings, and Jiang Tian's expectations. If he cowered, then he was not a man. Chapter 1893. Looks like you're very confident. Zi Yunxiao paced slowly, as if victory was already in his hands. He was calm and said with a smile, Good, I appreciate it. However, since we're going to compete, there should be a prize. Otherwise, winning or losing won't be exciting enough, and the eldest princess won't be happy. Prize? What prize? Lin Yang stared at him carefully, his body tense and his eyes alert. If you lose, the herb garden at Tiger Head Ridge will be mine. Zi Yunxiao said coldly. Yes, this is a good idea. Marquis Purple Robe also laughed and said, If my son wins, I will give the herb garden to Marquis Shanshui on the spot, as a sign of sympathy for Li Liudao's injury and as a way to spread the empire's friendly atmosphere. Thank you for your generosity. Marquis Shanshui immediately stood up and bowed deeply. Li Ludao was injured, so he would lose the hidden dragon trials without a doubt. His fief and title might even be taken away. However, with the fief at Tiger Head Ridge, he could still support his family. As long as he still had his strength, he might be able to make a comeback in the next hidden dragon trials. Zi Yunxiao is so loyal. He's definitely not as stingy as Lin Hanqing. Look, this is the magnanimity of the empire's marquis. This is the strength of nobles. Many of the marquises in Zi Yunxiao's camp also praised. It had to be said that Zi Yunxiao and Zi Yunxiao's move was very beautiful. They had an open and above-board reason to weaken the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family, and also united the camp. On the stage, Lin Yang clenched his teeth and said, "Fine, I can agree to this bet." With these words, Lin Hanqing also closed his eyes in despair. He knew that the situation had already reached an unsalvageable stage, and it was too late to say anything. However, he also knew that the moment Lin Yang stepped onto the stage, everything was decided. Zi Yunxiao would not show mercy, and as long as Lin Yang was injured, he would lose the Hidden Dragon trials, and his fief and title would be taken away. The only difference was that they would belong to the imperial family or the marquis. But what if you lose? Suddenly, Jiang Tian's voice sounded. Zi Yunxiao looked below the stage again, stunned, and said in disbelief, "What did you say? I'll lose." "Yes, you will lose." "What if you lose?" Jiang Tian was unperturbed. "Ha, Mr. Jiang really knows how to joke. I can't believe I lost." Zi Yunxiao was enraged. The 9 beautiful true dragons around him roared towards the sky. "Since you're so confident that you won't lose, then there's no harm in making this bet. If you lose, the 13 small cities around Jianghan City will belong to the Lin family." Jiang Tian smiled coldly. Mr. Jiang is so wise." However, Grand Princess Mou looked at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes and sighed in her heart. If the 13 small cities around Jianghan City were to fall into the hands of the Marquis of Zhenyuan's Lin family, it would form an encirclement around Jianghan City and the Marquis of Purple Robe, which would be equivalent to choking the other party's throat. As long as the other party made the slightest move, they could attack with all their might. This was a great thing for Zhenyuan Ho and even for the empire. I promise you. This matter was of great importance. On the stage, Zi Yunxiao did not speak immediately. However, below the stage, the Marquis of Purple Robe pondered for a while, then laughed sinisterly and directly made the decision. "Good, the Marquis does not joke. Then I will be the witness." Grand Princess Mou also laughed tenderly. At this moment, everyone felt that this banquet was strange and treacherous. Each of the Marquis and their successors tensed up and stared unblinkingly at the stage. Even Grand Princess Mou's heart was beating wildly. This was not a contest between the Marquis successors, nor was it a mock exam of the Hidden Dragon trials. It was a contest between the Marquis of Purple Robe, Lin Hanqing, and Jiang Tian. It was the prelude to the struggle for hegemony, and the prelude to the great turmoil of the empire. Just because you found a trash-loose cultivator from outside the river to be your teacher, you are not my opponent. On the stage, Zi Yunxiao finally made his move. He laughed loudly and stepped on the ground. The purple qi around his body turned into 2 streams of qi. The purple qi was like a pair of wings on his back, and he suddenly shot up 1,000 meters into the sky. The purple qi circulated, true yuan flowed, and an angry dragon roared. Zi Yunxiao's fingertips seemed to be entwined with lightning and fire. There was a faint purple qi attached to it, giving people a shocking pressure. A sword from the west. Zi Yunxiao used the Eastern Emperor finger, condensing qi into qi. The purple true yuan condensed into flying swords, almost ignoring the rules of the void. They formed strange streamlines and shot towards Lin Yang like a torrential downpour. There was no way to dodge. Flying fire meteor. The purple qi was like a star. Zi Yunxiao flicked his fingers and moved them as if they were flying. For a moment, a rain of swords flew in the air like flying fire meteors. They locked onto the 100-meter space and covered the entire battlefield. Strange, why is his speed so slow? Is he a snail? The moment he used his cultivation technique, Lin Yang suddenly had a very strange feeling. It was as if the entire world was moving in slow motion, and everything had slowed down. The rain of swords that were originally shooting wildly and difficult to see accurately were like pieces of feathers that slowly floated down. The trajectory and loopholes of their movement were all clearly visible. However, he immediately realized that this was the result of his cultivation methods circulating faster and his divine sense becoming sharper and more intuitive. Brother Zhang's cultivation technique was too miraculous. He was overjoyed, but Lin Yang's reaction was very fast. He took a step forward and his body exploded into the air. Like a true dragon twisting in the air, he moved at unbelievable angles, refracting through the attacks. Like an antelope, he nimbly dodged the rain of swords and meteors, instantly closing in on Ziyunshao to 100 meters away. "Look at my finger, I'll shoot your right arm." Lin Yang slowly let out a strange howl and pointed with his finger. What? His speed is actually so terrifying. Seeing Lin Yang rapidly approaching him from the sky, Ziyunshao was already terrified. When he heard Lin Yang's words and wanted to dodge, he felt a sharp pain in his right arm. Lin Yang's finger had already hit his right arm. "Shoot your left knee." Ziyunshao felt a sharp pain in his left knee. Blood flowed out. It was obvious that he had been hit again. Damn it! When did the Eastern Emperor finger's speed become so fast? Ziyunshao gritted his teeth in disbelief. "Shoot your third rib on the left. Shoot your right shoulder blade. Shoot your left ankle." The more Lin Yang attacked, the more carefree he became. It was as if he was reciting a book. When he spoke, the finger light would hit. Every single one of his fingers was like a celestial that had descended from the heavens, ethereal and indestructible. It was also like a skilled butcher dismembering an ox, instantly destroying all of Ziyunshao's imperceptible tiny openings. Every time he called out a position, Ziyunshao would be flustered, but he could not dodge a single attack. How frustrating! Ziyunshao was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. In terms of cultivation, he was a nascent soul cultivator, and his opponent was only a golden core cultivator. In terms of finger strength, he felt that he was 10 times stronger than his opponent. In terms of movement, he was also far stronger than his opponent. However, against a golden core cultivator, he felt like he was being suppressed everywhere. He could only passively take a beating. It was as if his every move was predicted by his opponent. His every weak point was in his opponent's eyes. His opponent's every move was not fast, but he was always able to predict his opponent's moves and suppress him in advance. The more Ziyunshao fought, the more frustrated he felt. At the same time, he had to admit that if his opponent's finger strength was just a little bit stronger, his spirit embryo would have been destroyed and he would have become a cripple. The circulation of the Eastern Purple Qi technique has also been changed, but it seems to be smoother and smoother. Yeah. How can he see the flaws in these techniques? He's a genius. Heaven-defying. Too heaven-defying. At this moment, everyone turned pale with fright. They turned to look at Jiang Tian in disbelief. Everyone knew that Lin Yang's cultivation was taught by Jiang Tian. The Eastern Purple Qi technique he cultivated was also modified by Jiang Tian. If Lin Yang was the actor in this fight, then Jiang Tian was the director of this show. He was the true master behind the scenes. Without a single word, he was completely dissolute. Chapter 1894. Not a single word, yet he's so outstanding. At this moment, everyone had such a feeling towards Jiang Tian. They were all shocked and in disbelief. Generally speaking, cultivation that was increased by secret techniques or pills was like a sandcastle. Although it was magnificent, it could not withstand the wind and rain. A single wave would turn it into dust. However, not only did Lin Yang's cultivation increase rapidly, his battle strength was also vigorous and solid. He could even beat Ziyunshao, who was at the nascent soul stage. This was too heaven-defying. "Do you still want to fight?" On the stage, Lin Yang suddenly stopped his attack and flew backwards. He looked at Ziyunshao from afar and sneered. "You!" At this moment, Ziyunshao was covered in blood and was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled and he no longer had the demeanor of the #1 genius of the southern border. He was like a beggar on the street. "I don't accept this." He gritted his teeth and his face was twisted as he glared at Lin Yang with hatred. He was unable to accept the fact that the good-for-nothing silk pants that he had mocked and ridiculed all day had actually defeated him in front of the eldest princess, in front of everyone, in front of all the vassals. Moreover, he had lost so miserably and thoroughly that he did not even have the strength to fight back. "You don't accept this?" Then, let's fight again. Lin Yang took a stance and his battle intent surged as he soared into the sky. Xianshao backed down. You've lost. However, Zishan hurriedly shouted. He had already seen that the improved version of Lin Yang's cultivation method and combat skills completely occupied the dominant position and was in a crushing position. If they continued fighting, Ziyunshao would not have the slightest chance of turning the situation around. Instead, he would be more heavily injured and this would affect his performance in the Hidden Dragon trials. He might even be at the bottom. Following Purple Marquis's roar, the battle finally came to an end. Yes, father. Ziyunshao gritted his teeth and jumped off the stage with a face full of humiliation. Feeling humiliated, he did not greet the crowd and entered a cultivation room with a gloomy face. He silently swallowed pills and healed his injuries. It's over? He won? Is this my useless playboy son? He actually defeated the genius Ziyunshao. Lin Hanqing was dumbfounded and could not believe it. This, Ziyunshao actually lost. The Marquis of Purple Robe, the Marquis of Shanshui, and the other lackeys were also in disbelief. However, in contrast to Lin Hanqing's ecstasy, Purple Marquis and the others looked as if they had lost their parents. First of all, there was a wager. The 13 small cities around Jianghan City not only represented a considerable amount of wealth and vast land, but also restricted Jianghan City. Secondly, Ziyunshao was already injured. Even though they were all external injuries and didn't harm the foundation of his spirit embryo, his performance in the Hidden Dragon trials would definitely be affected. His battle prowess would plummet and his ranking would plummet as well. This would affect the influence of Purple Robe Marquis. It could be said that Purple Marquis had suffered the most losses in this battle. As for the Marquis of Shanshui, his face was ashen. Although he was Purple Marquis's supporter and henchman, his relationship with Purple Marquis was not good enough for Purple Marquis to take out money to support him. Without the herb garden in Tiger Head Ridge, Li Ludao was destined to fail miserably in the following Hidden Dragon trials. His title and land would be taken away, and he would become a loner. Sometimes, death wasn't scary at all. However, the most painful thing was to wait helplessly for death to come. However, the one who was most shocked was Princess Mou. The battle between Lin Yang and Li Ludao was won by an instant kill. There was no exchange of blows, so what was shown was only the tip of the iceberg of the improved Eastern Purple Qi technique. However, this time with Ziyunshao, they had exchanged many blows, and it was also a more complete demonstration of Jiang Tian's improved Eastern Purple Qi technique. Princess Mou had been using this technique as her main cultivation method since she was young. She had cultivated it for 100 years, so including Purple Cloud Palm and Eastern Imperial Finger, she could be said to be very familiar with them. However, she didn't notice any of these flaws. However, after this battle, she realized that these cultivation methods and martial skills did indeed have a huge flaw, a fatal flaw. And Jiang Tian, on the other hand, saw through them like a fire. He found all the flaws in this technique and its supporting techniques. And Lin Yang was using these flaws to win with skill, to defeat the strong with the weak, and to turn the tables. The key was that the speed of his true essence was 10 times or 100 times faster than before, and his combat strength had also increased by a lot. It could be said that Jiang Tian had turned this set of cultivation method and the two sets of battle skills into something magical, reaching an unimaginable height. And the precise understanding of cultivation, the knowledge from a strategically advantageous position, and the broad vision reflected in this simply made Princess Mou gasp in amazement and admire him to the extreme. This little brat is simply too heaven-defying. Could it be that he is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty, or a saint who was reincarnated, or even an almighty from the immortal world who descended to the mortal world? Princess Mou's clear and beautiful eyes were fixed on Jiang Tian's indifferent side profile. Because of her excitement, her full chest rose and fell violently. Princess Mou was excited for a reason. If these improved techniques were obtained by the imperial family, once they were spread among the imperial family and the nobles, the strength of the empire would rapidly increase. Of course, This was also an effective way for the imperial family to win over the hearts of the people and increase their cohesion. Who didn't want to become stronger? Who didn't want to control more territory and power? And if he wanted to cultivate this improved heaven-defying technique, he had to be loyal to the imperial power. Mr. Jiang is so powerful. Princess Dongfang Ying, on the other hand, cheered in the midst of the silence. She was so excited that her face was flushed red. She waved her fists and her beautiful eyes curved into a beautiful crescent moon shape. She looked at Jiang Tian with admiration written all over her face. This tender voice called out, breaking the silence of the scene. The scene was in an uproar as all the vassals and heirs began to whisper to each other and discuss. Lin Yang fought beautifully. Genius. In today's battle, he suppressed all the heroes and defeated the genius. He can be said to be the #1 genius of our southern border. Some of the vassals were shocked and sighed with emotion. Bullshit. He's just a mediocre person. The real genius is that Mr. Jiang, turning something rotten into something magical, carving rotten wood into a genius. Some of the vassals immediately corrected him. Their tone was also sour. That's right, that's true. This Mr. Jiang is simply skilled and has a keen eye. His understanding of the 3 techniques is unfathomable, and he can see all the loopholes and inadequacies clearly. That's right. Once improved, he can find the loopholes and fill in the gaps. It's like changing a set of techniques, reaching the limit and ascending to the heavens. Sigh, how can the Lin family of the Jinyuan Marquis be so lucky? With my son's talent, if he were to be guided by such a master, wouldn't he soar to the heavens? Many of the vassals' gazes fell on Jiang Tian with traces of greed. It was as if they were misers who had seen a treasure and couldn't wait to pick it up and run away. Mr. Jiang, this humble one has the utmost respect for you. I wonder if you can condescend to be a guest lecturer in my residence and guide my good-for-nothing children. The remuneration is easy to negotiate. The price is 3 or even 4 times that of the Jinyuan Marquis. I have always been courteous to the wise. Some people were only moved, while others directly took action. Immediately, Marquis Qingshan, who was seated, stood up and walked to Jiang Tian with a cup in both hands. He bowed respectfully and drained the cup in one gulp, throwing out an olive branch. What courteous to the wise! Is our Mr. Jiang a corporal? He's a genuine expert. Look at your high and mighty appearance, putting on the airs of a vassal. Not only Marquis Qingshan, but another Marquis, Marquis Blackwind, also quickly walked over and frantically undermined his competitors. Then, with a face full of joy, he said, "If Mr. Jiang is willing to grace my residence with your presence, I'm willing to call you brother and be sworn brothers. I'll help you compete for the position of Marquis." Chapter 1895. The words of the Blackwind Marquis were extremely tempting. For a moment, many of the dukes slapped their thighs, shouting that the Blackwind Marquis was decisive and cunning. Although the Eastern Empire was a hereditary nobility and feudal system, in order to recruit capable people, they had also opened up some openings for the lower levels. For example, if a cultivator became brothers with a duke and obtained the permission of the imperial court, they would obtain the qualifications to participate in the hidden dragon trials and compete for titles and lands. For a time, Jiang Tian was surrounded by more than 20 southern dukes, all of them trying to curry favor, all of them trying to be humble, and all of them calling each other brothers. There was only one goal: come to my residence to preach and learn. As a result, Lin Hanqing and his son, who had come to express their gratitude, could not squeeze in. On the other hand, the originally lively Marquis of Purple Robe was instantly deserted in front of the door. Only the Marquis of Shanshui and a few other loyal followers were there. But even so, among these loyal marquises, there were some who secretly made up their minds to contact Lin Hanqing and Jiang Tian in private to see if they could give their descendants pointers. It could be said that after this battle, the wind had unknowingly changed. Because of Jiang Tian, more than half of the dukes had turned from Marquis Purple Robe to Marquis Jinyuan Lin Hanqing. Lin Hanqing had instantly replaced him, becoming the core of the southern dukes. Blackwind Marquis, go to the side. You're just a half-step divine transformation stage cultivator, How dare you call Mr. Jiang your brother? At this moment, another Marquis walked out. With a shoulder, he pushed Black-Wind Marquis to the side. Then, he took over the seat and said with a smile, Mr. Jiang, I heard that you still don't have a Dao companion. Sigh, you don't know, my wife's stomach is disappointing. She gave birth to 8 daughters, but no sons. However, each of my 8 daughters is talented and beautiful. If you come to my residence, Mark Tan Lin, this grandson, is actually so fierce. He didn't hesitate to give away all 8 of his daughters to win over this Jiang Siqing. For a moment, the dukes were all in disbelief. And this scene, for some reason, made the little princess Dong Fang Ying and eldest princess Mou a little uncomfortable. Dong Fang Ying's mouth opened and closed a few times, but eldest princess Mou's beautiful face darkened, and she directly called out, Marquis Tan Lin, you are speaking without restraint, you have lost the etiquette of the nobles, what do you look like? Why aren't you leaving yet? The empire respects its teachers. Didn't you see that Minister Lin and Lin Yang have been waiting for a long time? At this moment, the crowd gradually dispersed, which also helped Jiang Tian out of his predicament. In fact, these marquises' requests were quite a headache for him. For the Zhenyuan Marquis residents to be acquainted with Mr., it is truly the Lin family's fortune. Lin Yang's cultivation has improved greatly, it's all thanks to Mr. Lin Hanqing bowed deeply, his eyes slightly red. When Lin Yang arrived in front of Jiang Tian, he directly knelt on the ground and deeply bowed. He said with a tearful tone, Thank you, Master, for your guidance. Without your guidance, I and my family would have lost face this time. No wonder he was so agitated. Think about it, who would be willing to bear the infamy of being a good-for-nothing? Who would be willing to be trampled on and humiliated every day? Who would be willing to sit by and watch their ancestors' blood, military exploits, and even their lives be robbed of their titles and fiefs? Who didn't want to soar into the sky, crush their peers, and enjoy the admiration and envy of others? Lin Yang wasn't someone who was willing to abandon himself. He didn't want to be a burden to his family. He also wanted to be his father's glory and his lover's pride. However, in these years, no matter how hard he worked, how hard he thought, how hard he cultivated, how he went out to train, how he traveled, how he treated pills like candy, and how he ate enough spirit herbs to raise 2 cows, he still couldn't find the opportunity to break through. That moment of advancement still couldn't come. For many years, he tried, worked hard, struggled, and was crazy. He heard his father's helpless sigh behind his back, and saw Fang Goyu clearly anxious but patiently encouraging him. He even secretly cried in the middle of the night when there was no one around. However, later on, he despaired and completely gave up. He indulged in love, cockfighting, and all kinds of fun and trampling on others. Only this short period of happiness could numb himself. Only by numbing himself and maintaining an unconscious state could he be less painful. On the outside, he was arrogant and domineering, but in reality, the sensitive Lin Yang had always cared about these things. However, he pretended not to care at all. Thus, he learned to laugh at himself, learned to make fun of himself, learned to call himself a good-for-nothing, and called himself a good-for-nothing. However, he met Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian didn't despise him and called him brother. He thought of plans for the Lin family and even helped him improve his cultivation, completely changing the trajectory of his fate. At this moment, he felt that Jiang Tian wasn't just his best friend in life, but also his big brother for life. Jiang Tian was his benefactor and benefactor. In short, Jiang Tian was someone that he, Lin Yang, could give up his life for. This is what I should do. You don't have to be so polite. Why call me master? It's too restrictive. In the future, we'll call each other brothers. Jiang Tian laughed softly and helped him up with both hands. A trace of gratification flashed in his deep eyes. In my previous life, you and your family had done me a great favor. However, because of me, you suffered an unexpected calamity. You were chased and trampled by the Tian Luo sect and Yan Nanxian like wild dogs. In the end, your family was exterminated. In this life, I've finally helped you improve greatly in your cultivation and rid yourself of that good-for-nothing reputation. You won't be weaker than others in the struggle for power in the empire. However, how can this wash away the guilt in my heart? This isn't enough. It's far from enough. I want to help you go higher and further, enough to dominate this continent. Ha, congratulations, Brother Lin. However, all good things must come to an end. I see that it's getting late. The eldest princess must be tired and should rest. This banquet ends here. At this moment, the purple marquis also coughed and stood up. He smiled and acted as if he was sending off a guest. That's right. Zi Yunxiao is heavily injured and still needs to recover. Purple Marquis, quickly go and take a look. Seeing this, the Marquis of Shanshui and the other Marquis who were close to him hurriedly said. Originally, this banquet was a trap set up by the Purple Marquis. On one hand, he wanted to seize the spirit veins and herb gardens of Tiger Head Ridge. On the other hand, he wanted to show off his son's cultivation and further unite the Southern Marquis to become an overlord, paving the way for his next big move. Who would have thought that he would go for wool and come home shorn? Because of this mysterious Mr. Jiang, Lin Hanqing was able to turn the tables around and fight a beautiful comeback. If the banquet didn't end now, when would it end? Were they waiting for Lin Hanqing to show off his strength? Were they waiting for him to stuff a handful of feces into their mouths and humiliate them? They were wrong. Although Lin Hanqing had a straightforward personality, he was the kind of person who was kind-hearted. According to Jiang Tian, he was a bit soft-hearted. In fact, he didn't want to humiliate the Purple Marquis at all. He was only concerned about his son's great improvement in strength and obtaining the title of Southern Border's genius. Lin Yang, let's immediately send your results in today's mock exam to your uncle Fang Jinlong. Aya, even eldest Princess Mou is full of praise for you. Crushing a nascent soul genius, this is a great honor. Let's see if this old man dares to say that my son is not worthy of his daughter again. Damn, I still think that his daughter is not worthy of my son. This guy put his arm around his son's shoulder and walked out, chattering endlessly. The other Marquis heirs also bid farewell to eldest Princess Mou and the Purple Marquis. It was noisy, and in the midst of this clamor, a cold and sorrowful voice suddenly rang out. Marquises do not joke, nobles keep their promises. Just now, Zishan Marquis had said that the battle between Lin Yang and Ziyunxiao will be waged with 13 cities as the wager. Could it be that you have forgotten? Isn't your memory a little too bad? Chapter 1896. What? This kid is so stubborn that he really wants the 13 cities around Jianghan City. For a time, everyone looked at Jiang Tian in surprise and bewilderment, not daring to believe it. This is offending Purple Marquis to death. Is he not afraid of death? In public, with a bet, Purple Marquis Shenhigu could only hold his nose and endure. However, the other party is a soul formation cultivator, whose strength is second only to the 4 dukes. After the matter is settled, he will definitely have 100 ways to make you suffer. Can you stop him? Purple Marquis's face was also gloomy, and he said with a fake smile, Fellow Taoist Jiang, Lin Hanqing, do you really want the 13 cities? The 13 cities are all places where crooks and honest people mix. Rogue cultivators are as common as clouds, and experts are hibernating, repeatedly breaking the law. How many cultivators do you have in Maple City? Can you suppress them? He said meaningfully, I, Purple Marquis, have a big family, so I naturally don't put a city in my eyes. However, I am worried that although you, Lin Hanqing, are greedy and insatiable, your appetite is not good, your teeth are not good, and you will have indigestion. You will choke to death. This was simply a blatant threat. Lin Hanqing's face was pale, and his forehead was sweating, not knowing how to answer. He kept winking at Jiang Tian, probably to make Jiang Tian take a step back. Jiang Tian ignored him, smiled indifferently, and said calmly, You don't have to worry about that. Even if I choke to death, it's better than a hungry ghost. Purple Marquis didn't expect Jiang Tian to not give him face at all. His face couldn't help but stiffen, his aura surged, and his eyes revealed killing intent. Right at this moment, Grand Princess Mou stood up, smiled sweetly, and said, All right, Purple Marquis, if you agree to a bet, You must accept defeat. I will make the decision on this matter and give the 13 cities to Jinyuan Ho. Immediately hand over the fief contract, and I will report it to Royal Brother and announce it to the world in a few days. Princess Mou is right. Dukes don't joke, how can I not admit it? Since eldest Princess Mou was in charge, Purple Marquis had no other choice. He coldly snorted and waved his hand. 13 pieces of land deeds in the shape of jade slips flew out from the storage ring. With a flash of light, they shot towards Jiang Tian at lightning speed. He secretly infused the land deed with the divine laws and great path fragments. Once they fell into Jiang Tian's hands, the divine laws would immediately strangle them and suppress them. Purple Marquis was confident that even if Jiang Tian was a soul formation grand cultivator, he would still be severely injured. Purple Marquis, what are you doing? Seeing this scene, eldest Princess Mou's beautiful face was covered in frost and gloomy clouds. She frowned and shouted, Mr. Jiang, be careful. Little Princess Dongfang Ying's beautiful face turned pale as she cried out in alarm. Lin Hanqing and his son's expressions changed drastically as fear filled their eyes. Purple Marquis was an experienced divine transformation realm expert and was ranked in the top 10 of the empire. Although he only used 30% of his strength in this attack, it was still extremely terrifying. Perhaps even a 1,000 feet tall mountain would be flattened to the ground. Thank you. Jiang Tian casually waved his hand and received the 13 jade slips. The dazzling light of the jade slips in his hand gradually dimmed and became dark and ancient. That was the result of the suppression of the divine laws and great path. Seeing this scene, Purple Marquis couldn't help but be shocked. Then, his face turned pale and he didn't say a word. With this move alone, he realized that Jiang Tian's strength was probably not inferior to his. He's so strong. Eldest Princess Mou's eyes also shone with a strange light. It turned out that he really was a divine transformation realm cultivator. Oh my god, a 20-year-old divine transformation realm cultivator hadn't appeared in tens of thousands of years, not to mention in the Empire, even in the entire Saint Origin world. She had only suspected it, but now, it was confirmed beyond a doubt. She felt as if she had witnessed history. Lin Hanqing and his son looked at each other and couldn't help but show ecstasy on their faces. Jiang Tian was so powerful that he could easily erase Purple Marquis's secret law strangle. It could be said that basically no one would dare to provoke the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family in the future. They only felt proud. This banquet, after several twists and turns and climaxes, ended in such an unexpected way. Many of the dukes and successors, looking at Purple Marquis's gloomy face, tactfully took their leave. However, before everyone left, they didn't forget to look at Jiang Tian. They could no longer ignore him. Curing the little princess's chronic illness, training Lin Yang from a core formation trash to a peak Oris core expert, scolding Purple Marquis and other empire giants, easily resolving Purple Marquis's casual attack, showing strength comparable to a divine transformation realm cultivator, and even won the favor of eldest Princess Mou. Each of these things alone was enough to show disdain for the empire and have the capital to dominate a region. Most importantly, all of these miracles, all of these incredible feats, all of them had happened to Jiang Tian alone. Moreover, why did the ancient medicine hall suddenly support Lin Hanqing? Tonight's events were really strange. In any case, many of the dukes realized that the peace of the empire was about to be broken. Because Purple Marquis had lost too much this time, he was bound to be furious. If the empire's top marquis was angry, the consequences would be very serious. After the banquet, on top of a restaurant opposite the Purple Marquis estate, the figure of the Fragrant Medicine House's landlord Wang suddenly appeared. He sneered as he looked at the backs of Jiang Tian and the others. He snorted and said, Lin Hanqing, you've invited a disaster this time. Can you really take down the 13 cities? You've offended Purple Marquis. You'll suffer a fate worse than death. Landlord Wang was old, and after all, he was the leader of a large sect. Today, he was scolded and ridiculed by Jiang Tian, a loose cultivator from outside the river, a servant of the Lin family, which made him so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. The business with the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family was lost in vain, and he also became a villain for nothing. In the end, he didn't get any benefits, but instead was scolded and slapped in the face by the third hallmaster of the ancient medicine hall. It was simply embarrassing. However, landlord Wang didn't dare to be unhappy, and he wouldn't vent his anger on Purple Marquis. Although, the main culprit who caused them to lose this business was actually Purple Marquis. Forget it, a business is a small matter. Even if we lose it, it won't hurt the foundation of the fragrant medicine hall. Landlord Wang's mind was very flexible. He thought of Purple Marquis's great influence and some of the rumors that were faintly spreading in the circle. The greater Purple Marquis's power, the greater the threat to the Eastern Imperial family. In fact, Zi Yunxiao was also valued by the hidden sects, but for some reason, Purple Marquis kept it a secret. But no matter what, Purple Marquis was not as simple as he seemed on the surface. In time, Purple Marquis would replace the Eastern Imperial family and become the ruler of a country and even dominate the Saint Origin world. Purple Marquis has great ambitions. I hope that day will come soon. At that time, my fragrant medicine hall will have the merit of supporting the emperor, and he will definitely use the power of the entire country to support me. Even thousands of years later, I can compete with the ancient medicine hall. Thinking of this, landlord Wang's mood suddenly became better. He glanced at Jiang Tian's back again and left a few divine sense marks. His figure flashed and suddenly disappeared, flying towards the Purple Marquis's mansion. Chapter 1897. At the end of the banquet, those left in the residence were his loyal followers. Purple Marquis could no longer hide his anger. Even when he saw landlord Wang, he could not maintain his composure and was not in the mood to greet him. Purple Marquis only calmed down after killing 3 servants in a row who were unpleasant to the eye to vent his anger. The pungent smell of blood filled the air. The servants and guards kept quiet out of fear. The meeting hall was silent and the atmosphere was so heavy that it was almost suffocating. Brothers, let's discuss this. What should we do? In this dead silence, Purple Marquis glanced at the southern border Marquis and said in a deep voice, I suggest that we ambush Lin Hanqing? Marquis Shanshui was the first to jump out and roared, also, kill that Lin Yang and the monster surnamed Jiang. No, we can't kill Jiang Xiqing yet. We have to be cautious and burn his divine soul with demonic fire. We can torture out his secret arts and supreme techniques and use them to our advantage. Do you have a brain? You want to kill Jiang Xiqing? It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. Don't be blinded by hatred. Kill him if you have the guts. Purple Marquis shouted. The sound waves shook the entire hall as if it was about to explode. Calm down. Marquis Shanshui trembled in fear. He staggered back and apologized repeatedly. Purple Marquis, do you think we can't kill him? A Marquis asked in a deep voice. We can't kill him. Purple Marquis nodded. His face was gloomy as he said coldly, this Jiang guy is very strange. His origin is mysterious and his cultivation technique is extremely powerful. It's unfathomable. He easily resolved my great Dao laws. I'm afraid he's no weaker than me. Without the imperial family's order, the marquises are not allowed to attack each other. Therefore, the assassination must be done in one shot and the evidence must be destroyed. We can't be traced back to us. Also, I received news from the spies today that Marquis Yuan's residence in Red Maple Town was attacked by several Soul Formation Grand Cultivators. According to the spies' investigation, these Soul Formation Grand Cultivators might be from the Hall of Ancient Medicine and have a deep relationship with Jiang Xiqing. Speaking of this, his face became even more gloomy. What? The Ancient Medicine Hall is involved? No wonder the third hallmaster of the Ancient Medicine Hall's Icebound City branch suddenly paid a visit today to support Jinyuan Ho. So it was because of Jiang Xiqing. This is troublesome. That's the Ancient Medicine Hall we're talking about. When the hardcore dukes present heard this, their expressions became solemn. It was like a dog biting a hedgehog, and they didn't know where to bite. As the saying goes, befriend those far away and attack those close by. If the Purple Marquis wanted to take up the banner of rebellion and replace the Eastern Imperial family, the first one he would have to eat would definitely be the Genuine Marquis, who was the most loyal to the Imperial family and whose fief was next to the Purple Marquis fief. Next would be the Count of Nanhe, Fong Jinlong. Currently, the dozens of feudal lords of the southern border all looked to the purple-robed Marquis as their leader. And Lin Hanqing was like a nail in the heart of the Eastern Imperial family, nailed into the core of the Purple Marquis camp, making it impossible for him to unify the southern border. In the end, they were in a state of disunity. As long as Genuine Ho and Count Nanhe were eliminated, Purple Marquis would be able to unify the southern border. His strength would be able to suppress the three dukes and catch up to the Eastern Imperial family. The Eastern Imperial family was already in a precarious situation, and the other three dukes also had their own ulterior motives. Purple Marquis could completely convince the three dukes to join forces and hunt down the Eastern Imperial family. That way, he would have the absolute advantage. Once the rooster crows, the world will be white, and the Eastern Imperial family will be wiped out. Then what should we do? Marquis Shanshui's face was bitter. Once the Lin family stations troops in the 13 cities, they will be choking us. The other dukes were also at their wits' end. Today's banquet was originally meant to eliminate Lin Hanqing, but in the end, Purple Marquis was left with nothing. Don't kill Jiang Xiqing, but kill Lin Hanqing and his son. Purple Marquis's face was gloomy. As long as Lin Hanqing and his son are dead, Jiang Xiqing will be nothing. She's just an itinerant cultivator without any roots, like duckweed. The current dukedom system has many drawbacks. The stage of the empire will always be dominated by the dukes. There will be no chance for the common people, and even less for the itinerant cultivators. Yes. No matter how powerful the itinerant cultivators are, they will be looked down upon in the empire. It will be difficult for them to achieve anything. Purple Marquis clapped and laughed. Let's get rid of Lin Hanqing and his son first, then who will care about Jiang Xiqing? The dozens of soul formation dukes will tear her to pieces in a minute. But Mr. Jiang is the first guest of the Lin family. He is inseparable from Lin Hanqing and his son. Do we have a chance? A marquis said worriedly, having thought far and wide. I think they will be separated today. Purple Marquis's eyes were incomparably deep. He pondered for a while and suddenly said, Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing left the Purple Marquis mansion. At some point, the first guest, Zhang Linfeng, came to greet them with a few servants, followed by a few flying carriages. Master Zhang, why are you here? Lin Hanqing was quite surprised. Greetings, young Marquis Mr. Jiang. Zhang Linfeng bowed deeply and said in fear and trepidation. Marquis, Madam said that Purple Marquis has ulterior motives for holding this banquet. She was worried about your safety, so after you left, she sent me to support you. I also came here right after you, but I was stopped by Purple Marquis's soldiers and couldn't enter. I was almost worried to death. At this point he also showed the righteous indignation. He gnashed his teeth and said, a few small guard dogs dare to ignore the first guest of the Lin mansion. They are simply courting death. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. This is all taught by Purple Marquis. We are all dukes, no one is better than the other, but he is so arrogant and despotic. This is simply outrageous. Jiang Tian sneered, watching Zhang Linfeng's wonderful performance. This kid was clearly Purple Marquis's spy, but he made it seem like Purple Marquis killed his father. He's also a good actor. Should I give him an Oscar? Enough, we are in front of someone else's house, so let's not talk too much. The more you talk, the more mistakes you make. Lin Hanqing waved his hand to stop him. Marquis is right. Zhang Linfeng smiled. But, Marquis, is tonight's banquet all right? It was a close call. It was fellow Taoist Jiang Xiqing who turned the tide again. Lin Hanqing happily said. That's good. That's good. Teacher Jiang is simply our Lin clan's lucky star and guardian. He truly deserves the title of first guest. Zhang Linfeng cupped his fists to Jiang Tian, looking like a servant, without any trace of his original arrogance. You flatter me. Jiang Tian indifferently cupped his fists. Marquis Teacher Jiang, let's get on the carriage. We can't stay here for long, Zhang Linfeng urged as he got on the front cabin of a flood dragon carriage. Teacher, please get on the carriage first. Lin Hanqing was extremely polite and respectful. Jiang Tian did not decline this responsibility, accepting it calmly. As the three of them got on the carriage, Zhang Linfeng sinisterly smiled and raised his whip. The flood dragon horse soared into the air and flew out of the city. In the carriage, Lin Hanqing anxiously said, Teacher Jiang, this marquis knows that you asked for the 13 cities because you want to strengthen the Lin clan, but this is a hot potato that we can't handle. Chapter 1898. Don't give up eating for fear of choking. Jiang Tian's words were concise and comprehensive. That's the theory, but the reality is indeed difficult. Lin Hanqing sighed with melancholy. We have limited troops. Once we send troops to guard the 13 cities, it will stretch the battle line and weaken the defense of Maple City's main camp. And the southern border dukes around Maple City are all Purple Marquis' henchmen. If we want to send troops to suppress them, it will be difficult to satisfy both sides. Are you Purple Marquis' greatest enemy? When faced with Lin Hanqing's anxious gaze, Jiang Tian was completely calm and composed, and he suddenly smiled as he spoke. It's me and it's not me. His real enemy is the Eastern royal family. Lin Hanqing said. Marquis is not stupid. Jiang Tian smiled leisurely. You took the 13 cities this time, not for yourself, but for the Eastern royal family. If Princess Mou is not a fool, and if Eastern Lu is not a fool, they will take the opportunity to reward you. Troops, cultivators, magic weapons, just for one thing, to suppress Purple Marquis. Is that so? While Lin Hanqing was still doubtful, Zhang Xian suddenly said, What? Suddenly, the communication magical artifact at his waist flashed. Princess Mou summons you in the palace. Marquis Lin, please leave immediately. You must bring guest Jiang Xiqing. Seeing these lines of words, Lin Hanqing was dumbfounded. Then he slapped his thigh and laughed. Mr. Jiang, you are really good. You can predict things like a god. Not only are you proficient in the path of cultivation, but you are also very clear about the situation of the empire. You can see it clearly. The horse turned its head, and the dragon horse galloped through the air, sweeping across the sky in the deep night, towards the Princess Royal's palace. Princess Mou's palace in Jianghan City was like a city within a city. The walls were towering and thick, densely covered with Dao patterns, and various layers of formations. The halls were like military fortresses. There was not the slightest bit of beauty, but practicality. Armor and soldiers stood in great numbers, heavily guarded, and battle formations laid out horizontally, exuding an iron-blooded murderous aura. There were several soul formation experts overseeing it. At this time, Princess Mou had already used the communication magical artifact to send news of tonight's banquet to her royal brother Eastern Lu. After receiving the news, Eastern Lu was silent for a long time. Royal brother, I feel that Purple Marquis' ambition is no longer concealed. He's about to jump over the wall like a cornered dog. Eldest Princess Mou said boldly. I've been the #1 marquis in the world for a long time, so it's inevitable that I'm tired of it. It's human nature to want to advance further. Eastern Lu's tone sounded flat, but it was laced with a murderous aura that made one's breathing labored. It's a good thing that he's forcing Lin Hanqing, a tough nut to crack. If it were some other slightly softer duke, I'm afraid they would have given in on the spot. When eldest Princess Mou recalled the situation at that time, she was also extremely dissatisfied with Purple Marquis' performance. In front of the representatives of the royal family, he seized the territory of another marquis by force. This might seem like a fight between dukes, but in reality, wasn't it a slap to the imperial family's face? Eastern Lu sighed softly. The affairs of the world are unpredictable. If this were a few days ago, who would have thought that the Lin father and son would be our lucky stars? Thinking of the current situation in the empire, Eastern Lu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Perhaps many factions now think that the Lin father and son are members of my Eastern clan, and even that Jiang Xiqing is a chess piece that our emperor had arranged long ago? Eldest Princess Mou also smiled. If I didn't know the inside story, I'm afraid I would also think so. Have you noticed that the changes in the Empire's situation seem to be inseparable from a figure at every link? Jiang Xiqing? Eldest Princess Mou's bright eyes moved slightly as she blurted out. Royal sister, you've noticed as well? Eastern Lu smiled playfully and said, I heard that the beloved son of the Duke of the Northern Frontier, Bai Zhanyun, was severely injured by him twice, and his dantian exploded. The Duke of the Eastern Gorge, Long Juxue, was originally infected with a cold poison, but he didn't get a medicinal stone from the ancient medicine hall. He's still begging for medicine everywhere. This top duke originally wanted to use the hidden dragon trials to reform and annex other dukes, but now he's worried about protecting his title and fief. That's not all. Crown Prince Dongfang Ding suddenly began to investigate the second prince. It turns out that he's never taken Dongfang Li seriously. Last time when Jiang Xiqing flew past the imperial capital on the ancient medicine hall's flying ship, the second prince came out of the city to welcome her. That night, the crown prince's eastern palace was brightly lit all night, as if he was plotting something. Royal brother, are you worried that the crown prince and the second prince will cause trouble? Eldest Princess Mou immediately understood the meaning of the song and immediately asked. Our emperor is still here, and they also understand our meaning. The problem of the dukes hasn't been resolved yet. Whoever dares to fight for the throne will die. Eastern Lu said with a faint smile. It's good that they understand. They can't even protect the pie, and they still want to share it. That's a fool. Eldest Princess Mou sighed. After Dongfang Ding learned that Ying Er's chronic illness was cured with Jiang Xiqing's help, and that she had ascended to the nascent soul stage, he submitted a secret memorial. Guess what he wrote? Eastern Lu suddenly laughed. His Highness the Crown Prince may have 3 strategies. Eldest Princess Mou said without hesitation. The worst strategy is that Princess Ying's 9-yin body is exposed, and the matter of her collusion with the imperial doctor to fake her birthday is exposed. He exposed this matter and reported the Western Palace for the crime of deceiving the emperor. After investigating this matter, he asked you to banish the second prince and the imperial concubine to the cold palace. Although the evidence is conclusive and there is a target, it appears narrow-minded and lacking in grandeur. The second strategy is to take advantage of your rejection of the sex and arrange the relationship between the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family and the ancient medicine hall to make you wary of the Jinyuan Marquis, but in essence, it's to weaken the second prince. Because the Jinyuan Marquis and the second prince are very close now. This strategy is deeply favored by Royal Brother, and it's very easy to succeed. The best strategy is to rope in the Jinyuan Marquis, show his good intentions, and tempt him with benefits. The second prince will be completely alone, and he will have more help and chips to suppress the purple Marquis. He will be able to establish his career in the Duke's struggle for hegemony. But there's also danger, and it will appear too ambitious. Royal sister, you're really sharp. Eastern Lu sighed, but it's not. In his memorial, he asked me to promote Jiang Xiqing to the Crown Prince's tutor, to live in the Crown Prince's residence in the Eastern Palace, to teach him the ways of cultivation, and to help him govern the country. In short, make use of him, and at the same time, strictly monitor and screen him. Amazing! Eldest Princess Mou laughed. The Crown Prince is wise enough to see that Jiang Xiqing is the key. As long as he could win Jiang Xiqing over to his side, both Lin Hanqing and the second prince would have lost an arm. Furthermore, he could prevent Jiang Xiqing from getting too close to the Hall of Ancient Herbs and gradually becoming an uncontrollable force in the empire. His plans are far-sighted and watertight. Sigh, there's one more thing. The Crown Prince likes that girl Fang Goyu. Eastern Lu laughed bitterly. Originally, if the purple marquis had remained dormant for the time being and not made the situation so tense, I could still issue an edict. But now, being the emperor is so boring. Royal brother, these matters are still far away. What's more urgent is the 13 cities. Eldest Princess Mou smiled. Isn't that simple? Jinyuan Marquis Jiang Xiqing cured my beloved daughter. If I don't reward him greatly, who will be loyal to the empire and work for the imperial family in the future? Give him a generous reward. Troops, magical equipment, powerful cultivators, you have a lot of subordinates. Eastern Lu laughed softly and said leisurely, Jiang Xiqing and Lin Hanqing defeated the Purple Marquis beautifully. If I don't support them, won't they be bitterly disappointed? Royal brother, you're targeting me again. Eldest Princess Mou was also helpless. Who asked you to be the Empire's #1 goddess of war? Eastern Lu laughed. At this time, a palace maid reported that Jiang Xiqing and Lin Hanqing were already waiting outside the palace. They're already here? Eastern Lu laughed. No matter what, at least for now, we must support Lin Hanqing and his son. As for how and how, you decide. With that, he cut off the transmission. Grand Princess Mou sighed helplessly. She turned around and revealed a smile, saying, Summon them into the palace. Chapter 1899. Soon, Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing walked into the main hall. Lin Hanqing and his son bowed respectfully and paid their respects to the eldest princess. The eldest princess also smiled and gave him a seat. Jiang Tian, on the other hand, stood lazily with his hands behind his back. He looked around and didn't show any respect at all. Ahem, Mr. Jiang, are you looking for something? Eldest Princess Mou was a bit depressed. No matter how capable you are, no matter how great your contributions are, you should at least give me some face in front of outsiders, okay? Find a suitable chair. Jiang Tian smiled leisurely. Is this chair uncomfortable? It's a special product of the Nine Abyss Valley, made by the royal craftsmen. Sitting on it in summer, it's cool and refreshing. If you like it, I'll give you a few. The eldest princess emphasized the words Qing family, and this princess, reminding Jiang Tian that their statuses were different and that there was a difference in status. The banquet is so complicated. I'm tired. I want to lie down and let someone massage my legs and shoulders. Jiang Tian smiled without changing his expression. Don't go too far. The eldest princess was so angry that her face turned pale. Her plump chest trembled violently. She clenched her fists and opened them again, wishing that she could smash Jiang Tian's face. Vassals don't joke. Spitting is a nail. Can the royal family joke? Jiang Tian leaned casually on the eldest princess's fragrant soft couch and hugged a pillow lazily. He said casually, make do with it. Massage my shoulders. How dare this stinky man lie on my special bedding? I can only throw it away later. The eldest princess was not polite with her poisonous tongue, but she was indeed a person who kept her promises. Even though she was a little stubborn, she still gritted her teeth and massaged Jiang Tian's shoulders. Zhenyuan Ho, because of your contribution in curing the little princess's illness, the royal family will reward the Lin Mansion and Maple City with 10,000 golden core cultivators, 90,000 foundation establishment cultivators, 100 nascent soul heavenly lords, and 5 soul formation cultivators. In addition, a flying boat, 100 cloud towers, nascent soul heavenly beasts. These troops belong to the Lin family. You can deploy them as you wish, but you must focus on guarding the 13 cities. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Your Majesty. Seeing this scene, Lin Hanqing and his son were overjoyed and thankful, but they also felt that it was absurd. The dignified eldest princess Mou, the empire's goddess of war, and the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies, while giving orders and rewarding on behalf of the emperor, was obediently massaging Mr. Jiang's shoulders like a maidservant. This scene was too strange, too confusing. He could only say that Mr. Jiang is unruly and unrestrained, truly a godly man. Mr. Jiang, eat the fruit. When the little princess heard that Jiang Tian had arrived, she also ran over with a plate of dragon-eye cherries in her hands, just like a maid. When she saw this scene, eldest Princess Mou couldn't help but become enraged, and she directly flicked her sleeve and flipped her over before saying angrily, "You little girl, aren't you cheap? Was she addicted to serving him? Isn't it enough for me to massage his shoulders and legs? This is simply a disgrace to the royal family. How preposterous!" The little princess, Dong Fong Ying, was also shocked. Her face was deathly pale, and her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. She said bitterly, "Aunt, isn't it because he cured my illness that you rewarded the Lin family? What's wrong with me bringing him tea and water? These are all fruits that I secretly brought out from the imperial palace." All right. It's just a joke, but you're so petty," Jiang Tian said with a frown. Eldest Princess Mo didn't know why she was so angry and lost her composure the moment she saw the little princess getting close to Jiang Tian. Seeing Dongfang Ying frightened and wronged, she also felt guilty and pitiful in her heart. Eldest Princess Mo's fair oval face revealed a hint of benevolence. She softened her tone and said with a long sigh, "You are benevolent and merciful, knowing how to repay kindness. Aunt shouldn't blame you, but this Jiang Siqing really likes to take advantage of us, repeatedly humiliating our royal family's face. You're already so old, why don't you understand?" I don't know why, but when I saw Mr. Jiang, I felt close to him. I forgot my identity, and also forgot his identity. Little Princess Dongfang Ying lowered her head slightly, pouted her captivating red lips, and said aggrievedly, "What's there to be close to? He's a lecher, he doesn't have any good intentions, he just wants to harm other people's little girls, you have to stay away from him." Eldest Princess Mo became irritated again, her eyebrows slightly raised as she spoke sternly. "How did he harm me? He cured my illness, and when I saw him, I felt full of joy, as if I had drunk honey." Dongfang Ying did not understand, but seeing that his aunt was very angry, he did not dare to act rashly. Eldest Princess Mo pinched Jiang Tian's shoulder a few more times before walking to the side. She revealed a smile that was incomparably bright and beautiful and said, "Mr. Jiang, I have bestowed so many rewards to the Lin family, you should at least return the favor. I don't want anything else, just give me a complete set of the improved version of the Eastern Purple Chi technique." "Not giving." Jiang Tian flatly refused. "What? Not giving?" Eldest Princess Mo and the Lin family's father and son were all dumbfounded. "Of course not. The material cultivators you bestowed to the Lin family are not for me, why should I give you benefits?" Jiang Tian said matter-of-factly. You and the Lin family have an employer-employee relationship. If one suffers, the other suffers. If I bestow the Lin family, you will also receive great benefits. Otherwise, I will take back my order. After all, this news has not been announced to the world yet." Eldest Princess Mo laughed. "You rewarded the Lin family just to suppress the Purple Marquis. If you have the guts, take it back. We don't want the 13 cities." Jiang Tian was stubborn. This time, Eldest Princess Mo was completely dumbfounded. She did not expect Jiang Tian to see the situation of the empire so clearly and so hoodlum. At this moment, she felt exactly the same as Purple Marquis and the others. It was like a dog biting a hedgehog, unable to bite down. "I know you don't understand." Ignoring Eldest Princess Mo's angry gaze, Jiang Tian smiled and said, "Then let me ask you, what is the use of improving the cultivation method?" "Naturally, it is to reward the royal family and the vassals to strengthen the empire." Eldest Princess Mo blurted out without hesitation. However, these words were not completely said. More importantly, she could also use it to rope in the direct line of vassals and increase the cohesion of the royal family. Only those who were obedient and loyal to the royal family would be able to obtain the improved cultivation method. The royal family is not an iron bucket, and among the vassals, there are many people with ulterior motives. Jiang Tian was calm and unruffled, his eyes slightly narrowed, and said calmly, "You don't know many of these hidden enemies. How can I be at ease to hand it over to you? The improved cultivation method is a knife. How can I hand the knife over to my opponents and enemies?" "Alright, then I won't waste any more words, see the guest out." Eldest Princess Mo flung her sleeves and directly ordered the guest to leave, walking towards the back hall with a livid face. She naturally understood that Jiang Tian's words were not without reason. However, being rejected by Jiang Tian in public, she felt that she had lost quite a bit of face. Wasn't she doubting her own judgment? "I am also the one who knows the situation of the empire the best. This scene made Master Lin Hanqing feel extremely awkward, and he was in a dilemma. Little Princess Dongfang Ying wanted to say something, but hesitated. For a moment, the entire hall was silent. One could hear a pin drop, and the atmosphere was incomparably oppressive. "But I believe in you." Amidst the awkward silence, Li Yundong's voice rang. Jiang Tian suddenly laughed. "Sigh, your true essence is fighting, the laws are entangled, the great Tao is in chaos, and it is difficult to control. You have been at the 6th level of the semi-god realm for no less than 30 years, right? Why can't you break through? I originally wanted to use this opportunity to return your favor. Unfortunately, since you don't appreciate it, then forget it." Eldest Princess Mou's proud phoenix-like delicate body trembled slightly in disappointment, and her lotus steps suddenly came to a stop. Chapter 1900. If Jiang Tian said something else, with Eldest Princess Mou's proud personality, she would definitely not turn back. However, what Jiang Tian said was the most sensitive, most concerned, and most distressed thing in her heart. Yes, she had been stuck at the 6th level of the semi-god realm for a full 30 years. However, in the past 30 years, no matter how hard she worked, went out to train, and traveled north and south, she could not find the opportunity to break through. The moment of advancement had not arrived. In the past 30 years, she had worked hard, struggled, went crazy, and even secretly cried in the middle of the night when there was no one around. However, the path of martial arts seemed to have been shackled, and the late stage of the semi-god realm was always impossible to enter. It almost made her wonder if she had overestimated herself. Could it be that her potential had stopped here? This period of time when she returned to the country from the border was also the time when her heart was the weakest and the most frustrated in her life. Her cold forehead gently relaxed, and her limpid eyes faintly flashed with unconcealable excitement. However, this expression only flashed by for a moment. Immediately, Eldest Princess Mou regained her previous cold and reserved manner, and said with slight ridicule, "Mr. Jiang, no matter how strong you are, I'm afraid you'll stop at the middle stage of the semi-god realm, which is on par with me. You're not a void return saint. Moreover, the most important thing is that your lifespan is too short, and your experience in cultivation is not as rich as mine. If you want to guide me, I'm afraid you're still lacking. You have a lot of experience in cultivation and you're old. Can you promote Lin Yang to the peak of the gold core stage in 4 months?" Jiang Tian retorted. In fact, Eldest Princess Mou did not completely believe what Jiang Tian said. It was just that when she saw Jiang Tian's smug look, she was extremely unhappy and wanted to push him. Hearing this, she also smiled faintly and said, "I'm afraid you don't even know that your anxiety of not being able to break through is written all over your face. What you probably didn't expect is that if you continue like this, not only will you not be able to break through, you're not far from chi deviation. You can't deny it. Every time the sun sets, your mood will be extremely irritable. It's as if there's a raging fire in your chest that's going to burn you to ashes. You don't have to admit it, but I still have to say it. Just treat it as returning the favor from before. Whether you want to listen or not is up to you." Having said that, Jiang Tian turned to leave. "Wait, you want to leave before you finish talking? Are you a man?" Eldest Princess Mou directly lost her composure and grabbed Jiang Tian's sleeve. "Huh, you called me a brat before. Well, now you're asking me to be a man." Jiang Tian smiled and said, "I can give you pointers, but I have a condition." "What conditions?" Eldest Princess Mou frowned and said, "Do you want heavenly materials and earthly treasures, famous mountains and great rivers, or cultivation technique manuals? As long as I can give you something, I will give it to you. But it's impossible to get a noble title. Our empire doesn't have such a rule. The condition is that no matter which power in the empire wants to harm the Jinyuanhou residents, you must stand on the side of Jinyuanhou." Jiang Tian's expression turned serious as he said solemnly. The moment these words came out, Lin Hanqing and his son looked at each other. Their eyes were deeply moved, and their faces were slightly red. Mr. Jiang is truly a strange man. As for little Princess Dongfang Ying, her beautiful eyes were also wide open as she looked at Jiang Tian with extraordinary splendor, filled with admiration and admiration. Jiang Tian had guided eldest Princess Mou. How much merit was this, and how many benefits could he exchange for? It could be said that he could ascend to the heavens and stand shoulder to shoulder with the dukes. However, Jiang Tian did not ask for anything for himself. As long as eldest Princess Mou made a promise to the Lin family. I agree. Eldest Princess Mou did not hesitate. In her opinion, the Zhenyuan Ho Lin family was loyal to the royal family and had the same interests as her. Protecting the Zhenyuan Ho Lin family was protecting herself. A gentleman does not joke. If you are sure, you and I will set up a soul contract. Jiang Tian said. Of course. Eldest Princess Mou smiled. The souls of both sides intertwined and formed a contract. However, if there was a violation, the soul would be destroyed and the body would perish. At this time, Jiang Tian's face turned serious and he chuckled. Your talent and the cultivation technique you cultivate are actually enough for you to break through to the late stage of the semi-god realm. In fact, you have the potential to break through to the void return saint stage. It's a pity that you're too competitive. Your competitive nature has affected your temperament. You pay too much attention to the battle between the royal family and the dukes. Trivial matters linger in your heart, blinding your divine sense. You are unable to calm your heart, so naturally, you are unable to clearly perceive the laws and the great Tao. In fact, the laws are in chaos and the great Tao is entangled. You are already one step away from Qi deviation. You don't have to admit it, but my guidance can be considered as returning the favor to you. Whether or not you can hear it in your heart is up to you. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Eldest Princess Mou, who had always been competitive, actually looked at Jiang Tian with her mouth agape. Surprisingly, she did not refute. Soon after, a gloomy expression appeared on her beautiful face. She had to admit that Jiang Tian's words hit the nail on the head. I admit that I have these problems, but even if my temperament can be changed, the empire's situation is precarious. As a member of the royal family and a trusted subordinate of my royal brother, how can I stay out of it? Once the war breaks out, the people will have no way to make a living, and the people will be in a terrible situation. I don't know how many orphans and widows will be left behind. Eldest Princess Mou's brows furrowed tightly. Her eyes were slightly red as she sighed regretfully. At this moment, she removed her strong disguise and revealed her weak side as a woman. Cultivation and the struggle for hegemony are not studying or embroidering. It's easier said than done to be calm and drive away the inner demons. I already know that I am on the verge of death, but there is no other way. Could it be that you have any other way? She looked at Jiang Tian with a melancholic expression and smiled miserably, as if in despair. She also carried too much on her shoulders. At this moment, she let down her guard and confided in Jiang Tian, as if they were old friends. Of course. Jiang Tian took out a guqin and placed it on the table. He smiled and said, I have a song called the 12 Divine Sounds of Longhuan. It is a small song that uses music to interfere with one's mind. With the heart as the guqin, the 7 emotions as the strings, and the true intent to play, it creates a silent immortal sound that resonates with the other party's heart. If you listen to it often, you will be able to cleanse your heart of worldly thoughts, clear your heart and calm your mind. You will not be invaded by external demons, evil thoughts will not be able to enter, and your worries will be purified. With that, Jiang Tian stretched out his fingers and gently plucked the strings of the guqin. Notes jumped out from his fingers like fairies. As Jiang Tian played, eldest Princess Mou's spirit was shaken. She only felt that a beautiful scene appeared in front of her. A gurgling spring flowed past the pure white stones. A round moon hung high in the pine forest. A cool breeze blew, blowing the pine trees up and down. It also blew her heart. In an instant, eldest Princess Mou felt that all her worries had disappeared. Her mouth and tongue were salivating, and her entire body was relaxed. Her spirit was even more refreshed than after eating a spirit pill. The laws and great Tao in front of her were clear and prominent. Her senses were extremely sharp. She was dumbfounded and asked in a trembling voice, "What is this?" Chapter 1901. The first section of the 12 magical sounds of Longhuan, Central Pine Illumination. It helps you cleanse the mortal world and comprehend the beauty of nature and the fun of the world. Jiang Tian said leisurely. Suddenly, Jiang Tian's technique changed. He pressed his hands on the strings and plucked them at the same time. The sound of the zither changed again. It was as if there was a clear and resounding chirp from the ninth heaven. It was so beautiful that it was difficult to describe. Even if hundreds of birds chirped together, it would be difficult to compare to it. Princess Mou only felt that her vision had suddenly risen, overlooking the Eastern Empire, overlooking the entire Saint Origin world, and in the end, even overlooking the entire Central Galaxy. At this moment, she felt her own insignificance and the vastness of the universe. All of a sudden, he deeply felt that all the worries that he had been worrying about in order to advance his cultivation base were so tedious and uninteresting. His heart was filled with sorrow, but he suddenly felt detached. What is this? The second section of the 12 magical sounds of Longhuan, overlooking the ninth heaven. It helps your mind to detach, as if from a strategically advantageous position, and look at the world from a higher dimension. Jiang Tian said leisurely. Suddenly, Jiang Tian's technique changed again. A majestic sound that could not be described with intuitive words penetrated the sky. If Princess Mou had met a real dragon, she would understand that this was the dragon's roar. The dragon's roar reverberated in the princess' mind over and over again, shaking the heart demon and evil thoughts to pieces. Her mind trembled as if she was listening to the sound of the great Tao. However, the great Tao that was originally vague in front of her eyes became more prominent, as if it was within her reach and she could control it with a raise of her hand. In her memory, she had never been so close to it. What is this? Princess Mou's soul trembled, and she was dumbfounded. The third section, Boundless Chant. It helps you to crush the outer demons and destroy the evil thoughts. In this way, you can calm your mind and get close to the great Tao of nature and the great Tao of nature. Jiang Tian replied leisurely. Then, Jiang Tian played a total of 12 sections of the stargazing ocean, tilting the sky, tranquil heart lake, treading on the clouds. Images that were either fresh and refined, grand and magnificent, or transcendent appeared above Mou's heart. In his mind, they interfered with his mind and affected his soul. Listening to the 12 divine sounds of Longhuan, eldest Princess Mou only felt her delicate body tremble slightly. She felt refreshed and her senses became sharper. Her senses were 10 times or even 100 times stronger than before. It was as if she could immediately break through the shackles and reach the 7th layer of the divine transformation realm. Of course, reaching the divinity transformation stage was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Every small breakthrough was like a mortal trying to climb a mountain. It was extremely difficult and dangerous. This was just an illusion formed after the shackles were broken, and the limit of one's potential was stimulated. However, the 12 magical sounds of Longhuan were extremely beneficial to her cultivation. This point was undeniable. Suddenly, Jiang Tian pressed the strings with both hands, and the strings stopped vibrating. The sound of the zither gradually became softer, but it still lingered in the air, as if it could linger for 3 days. Jiang Tian casually waved his hand, and a jade slip floated into the air, flying towards eldest Princess Mou. Eldest Princess Mou was still immersed in the shock brought by the 12 magical sounds of Longhuan and did not recover for a long time. She caught the jade slip mechanically. Jiang Tian said leisurely, "This imprinted jade slip has already imprinted the sound and image of my playing just now. Listen to it before you cultivate. It will be of great benefit to your cultivation. Within a year, you can reach the 7th layer of the divine transformation realm. Within 100 years, it is not impossible to reach the void return realm. If you have the leisure, you can also learn my finger techniques and play. It will be even more beneficial for you to eliminate your inner demons. Thank you, Mr. Jiang, for the treasure." Eldest Princess Mou's delicate body trembled slightly. She was shocked and moved. She bowed deeply and cupped her fists, performing the etiquette of a disciple. She knew that this time, it was not Jiang Tian returning her favor, but she owed Jiang Tian a huge favor. To be able to create another sage within 100 years, this was a great joy for her and the Eastern Empire. This scene also shocked Lin Hanqing and his son greatly. They could not believe it. To be able to make the dignified goddess of war, the commander of the 3 armies, eldest Princess Mou bow her head in gratitude and perform the etiquette of a disciple, Jiang Tian was probably the only one in the entire Eastern Empire. Even facing Eastern Lu, eldest Princess Mou would not be so respectful. Dad, I feel that with the relationship between Mr. Jiang and eldest Princess Mou, I will definitely have no problems in the Hidden Dragon trials. Lin Yang was overjoyed and winked. Cough cough, you still can't slack off. You have to cultivate diligently every day. How high is Mr. Jiang's standard? Even eldest Princess Mou can give you pointers. You can follow him to cultivate. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lin Hanqing was also very happy in his heart, but his expression was still very stern. Mr. Jiang is too amazing. He even knows the Tao of music that interferes with the mind. What in this world does he not know? As for Dongfang Ying, she was so excited that her face was flushed red. Her beautiful eyes were full of extraordinary splendor as she looked at Jiang Tian, like a little fangirl facing her idol. And even said that I was belittling myself by giving Mr. Jiang fruits and losing the dignity of the royal family. But now, aren't you still bowing to Mr. Jiang as a disciple? Mr. Jiang is a strange man. He has both charm and ability. Thinking of this, little Princess Dongfang Ying's beautiful eyes seemed to be angry and happy. She looked at her aunt with ridicule and snorted lightly. Sensing Dongfang Ying's gaze, eldest Princess Mou's face also turned red. Alright, take your time to comprehend it. We still have things to do, so we'll be leaving first. Sensing that the atmosphere was a bit strange, Jiang Tian took his leave. Yes. Mr. Jiang, you just came and left, why don't you stay for a few more days? Junior looks forward to you accompanying Lin Yang to the Imperial City to participate in the Hidden Dragon trials. At that time, Junior will be able to take care of you every day. Dongfang Ying accompanied Jiang Tian out the door, reluctant to part with him. She looked at Jiang Tian in a daze and said in a tender voice. This scene caused Lin Hanqing and his son to be unable to withstand it. This was the eldest princess's palace. How could a man stay for the night? Once Jiang Tian stayed, all sorts of rumors would spread throughout the entire Eastern Empire the next day, causing all sorts of guesses and messages to fly everywhere. The majesty of the royal family. Eldest Princess Mou was so angry that she gritted her teeth, her phoenix eyes widened as she reminded him in a low voice. Dongfang Ying was shocked and immediately shut her mouth. Marquis, something bad has happened. Something big has happened. Someone is trying to assassinate Madam and Ancestor. Stop. This is the eldest princess's palace. Without a summons, how can you barge in? Guards, let me in. Something big has happened in the Jinyuanhou residence. Retreat. If you dare to take another step forward, kill without mercy. Before everyone could walk out of the main hall, a hoarse cry suddenly sounded out. Following that, there was a burst of shouting and quarreling. There was even the sound of flying swords being unsheathed in the air. Everyone sped up their footsteps and flew out of the main hall. They saw the head of the Lin residence's consecrated elder, Zhang Linfeng, with a face full of anger. He had already taken out his flying sword and was confronting a few golden armored guards with halberds in their hands. Eldest Princess Mou shouted. Guards, back off. Eldest Princess Mou waved her hand. Your Highness. A few golden armored guards hurriedly retreated. They were well trained and obeyed orders. Taoist Linfeng, what's going on? This is the princess's palace, an important place of the royal family. How can you barge in? This is a capital offense. Lin Hanqing asked with slight reproach. Zhang Linfeng's face was covered in cold sweat. His expression was anxious as he quickly stepped forward and said quickly, "Marquis, I just received news that the Jinyuan Ho residence was attacked. Ancestor was attacked in his seclusion. Miss Dai was attacked in 100 Flowers Peak." What? Lin Hanqing turned pale with fright. How could this be? What kind of expert attacked? Jiang Tian's expression also changed slightly, but he quickly calmed down. The Jinyuan Ho residence was attacked by 3 soul formation experts. The city lord's residence has been destroyed. Miss Goyu fled to Golden Sand City with Madam and other family members and has now arrived at the Black Stone Forest. 4 immortal state experts attacked in the ancestors' seclusion place. Miss Dai has been kidnapped by 2 of them. Zhang Linfeng's Adam's apple moved as he spoke with difficulty, as if he was anxious and nervous. Chapter 1902. Why did Dai go to a place like 100 Flowers Peak? What should we do? Lin Hanqing panicked. The Lin mansion was where his family lived and was also his base camp. Once it was destroyed, it would be an immeasurable loss. The point was that Fang Goyu and Jiang Tian's daughter were also there. Lin Takong, the ancestor of the Lin family, was Lin Hanqing's last trump card. Once he was killed, the consequences would be unimaginable. As for his daughter, 100 Flowers Peak was a famous mountain with pleasant scenery. There were many strange rocks and a complicated terrain. It was as warm as spring all year round and flowers bloomed in any season. It was the favorite place of young lovers in the empire. However, 100 Flowers Peak was located in the territory of the Duke of Eastern Canyon, in the far east of the empire. It spanned across more than half of the empire and was too far away. Even with the terrifying cultivation of a divine transformation realm cultivator or with a Taoist artifact flying at full speed, it would take a day. Lin Hanqing did not expect that the enemy in the dark would be so ruthless and vicious. It was fine if they did not take action, but once they did, they were as powerful as a thunderbolt. A total of 9 Divinity Transformation Realm experts attacked at the same time at 3 key points. It gave him a feeling of being unable to attend to one thing while losing sight of another. "Marquis, let's split up. I'll lead the masters to help the Lin family. You and Jiang Xiqing go to the ancestors' seclusion place. As for Lin Dai, Princess Mou was calm. She hesitated and didn't say anything, but her meaning was self-evident. The enemy was too powerful and there were too many of them. Princess Mou and Lin Hanqing couldn't take care of them at all. At this time, there must be a choice. Of course, the Lin family and the ancestor of the Lin family were much more important than Lin Dai. More importantly, Lin Dai had gone too far away and had been captured by the enemy. The enemy would either kill her directly or not and wait for the ransom. However, this matter could still be put off for a while. Princess Royal, the bandits sent a message by flying sword. If you don't see 1 billion top-grade crystals in a day, you'll have to wait to collect Lin Dai's body. Zhang Linfeng's face was full of panic. He handed over a flying sword with a jade slip with positioning and communication functions attached to it. Faced with the choice between life and death, Lin Hanqing's heart was burning with anxiety. He said, 1 billion crystal stones in one day, isn't this playing me to death? Zhang Linfeng, wait outside the palace. Jiang Tian, who was watching from the sidelines, suddenly said coldly, Mr. Jiang, the situation is extremely urgent. There is no room for hesitation. We have to make a quick decision. Your daughter also followed Miss Fang Goyu and fled towards Golden Sand City. Zhang Linfeng solemnly reminded. He had no intention of retreating. If I tell you to go out, then go out. What's with all the nonsense? I have something to discuss with the eldest princess and Marquis Lin. Do you have the right to comment? Scram. Jiang Tian didn't give him any face at all. He waved his sleeves and shouted. Mr. Jiang, please calm your thunderous anger for the time being. The old man was also anxious. He lost his mind and forgot the etiquette of seniority. The old man retreated. Sir Jiang and the Marquis, please make a quick decision. Zhang Linfeng seemed to be frightened by Jiang Tian. He deeply bowed, lowered his head, and retreated step by step, quickly disappearing outside the door. But outside the door, the moment Zhang Linfeng straightened his back, a trace of cruel resentment and killing intent flashed through the corners of his eyes. Ha! Purple Marquis has been planning for decades for today's thunderous strike. I'll let you be rampant. When we eliminate Jinyuan Ho, we will join forces with many experts to eliminate you. At that time, see how I'll deal with you. Jiang Tian casually waved his hand, and casually set up a barrier that isolated the probing of divine sense. He leisurely said, "Everyone, if you trust me, then listen to my arrangements. How about it? Good. Everything will be according to Mr. Zhang's arrangements." Right now, Lin Hanqing was worshipping Jiang Tian like a god. In the face of a difficult situation, he had no idea what to do and naturally did not refute. Eldest Princess Mou also nodded without hesitation. Eldest Princess Mou, don't interfere in this matter. As soon as Jiang Tian said this, Eldest Princess Mou's expression changed. She hesitated and said, "I won't interfere. Even if you have the strength of a semi-god realm expert, you can't split yourself now. The three forces are all under threat of life and death. Can you save them? How do you know that the enemy's target does not include you?" Jiang Tian's expression was indifferent, and he said in a deep voice, "This time, the mastermind behind the scenes is very ambitious. Attacking the Lin family is just a ploy to lure the enemy in. Once you leave your palace, you will enter a perilous battlefield that can change at any moment. Perhaps, this time, you will perish." "What?" Eldest Princess Mou glanced around at the deep and dreary night. She saw that in the sky, dark clouds were slowly gathering, and from time to time, lightning like silver snakes and golden pythons sounded. She was shocked, but there was a sense of panic and fear. She said in a deep voice, "Who is the enemy? Is it Purple Marquis? He has the guts to attack me?" "Demon race. The previous generation of the royal family." Jiang Tian said in a deep voice, "Purple Marquis is just a chess piece. He is only thinking about seizing the territory of Jinyuan Ho first. But the force behind him is more ambitious and ruthless than him, and its strength is 10 times or 100 times more terrifying. I suspect that tonight will be a decisive battle. The previous generation of the royal family, Dongfang Jie? A decisive battle?" Eldest Princess Lin Hanqing and the others were all stunned and frightened, as if dark clouds were pressing down on the city. "Or the beginning of the decisive battle." Jiang Tian said leisurely, "The enemy's real target is not the ancestral patriarch of the Lin family, but Jinyuan Ho and you. Once Jinyuan Ho is eliminated, the southern vassals will be completely unified and will have the qualification to fight against the royal army. And once you die, the Dongfang royal family will lose a pillar of the country and will be defeated. So, you can't go out." Once Eldest Princess Mou left the palace, she would lose the home advantage. Who knew how many masters and killing arrays the enemy had set up? Lin Hanqing and Eldest Princess Mou had both commanded thousands of troops, so they naturally understood this. But how can we get out of this dilemma? Lin Hanqing and Eldest Princess Mou asked together. "I'll split into 3. Or I can split into 3. Jiang Tian sneered. The two avatars appeared at the same time. One had an aged appearance like a savage and was filled with wild bestiality. The other had a peerless and otherworldly aura like a god that was ethereal and untainted by the slightest aura. As for Jiang Tian's true self, the aura of the mortal world was much denser, almost like that of a mortal. Is this the legendary technique of the ancient Taoist sect, the 3 pure ones? Eldest Princess Mou was shocked. Generally speaking, nascent soul cultivators could use divine powers and external objects to create an identity. Soul formation cultivators even had billions of avatars and could be reborn from a drop of blood. But no matter what method was used to create an avatar, there was a huge flaw. That was, the avatar was much weaker than the original body and usually only had 20 or 30% of the strength. Otherwise, as long as any cultivator could create an avatar, there was no need to pursue a higher realm. They only needed to create enough avatars. Only the ancient Taoist sect, which was said to be well-versed in the great path of time, was capable of occupying the past, the present, and the future with the one chi turning three pure ones technique. A person could create 3 copies of himself, each of which was a copy of himself. They had the same divine power as the original self and had independent consciousness. This was a peerless divine power that was said to be able to kill immortals and gods. How could Mr. Jiang, a cultivator from outside the river, control it? Chapter 1903. It's similar to a cultivation technique. It's a small method for me to comprehend the mortal world and talk to myself. In his previous life, Jiang Tiantian had reached the primordial chaos god realm. He had created a new world and reshaped the universe. He was someone who could converse with the Buddha and the Tao ancestor. He had mastered many cultivation techniques that were as vast as the sea. Jiang Tiantian didn't master any of them, but he didn't care about them either. The strange man's hair was gray, long and messy, intertwining with each other and covering his face, only revealing a pair of eyes filled with greed, confusion, and fear. Suddenly he stared at Dongfang Ying and Princess Mou and said with a sneaky smile, "Benzin ah, these 2 little girls' skin is so glossy and smooth, and they're so affectionate towards you. Why do you have to endure your desires? Fake Taoism. Fake seriousness. Full to death, hungry to death. In my opinion, I should bring them all into the harem. Tonight, we can exercise together and reach paradise together. Wouldn't that be beautiful?" Little Princess Dongfang Ying looked at all of this in a daze. She felt that it was very interesting and her face was flushed red. Princess Mou's beautiful face turned stiff, and she looked at Jiang Tian mockingly. Hee, I didn't expect Mr. Jiang's heart to be so dirty. As expected of a lecher. This time, you won't be able to escape the title of lecher. In a time of crisis, you still have the mood to pay attention to these details. Why would a man of the martial world care about a few words of jest? Seeing this scene, Jiang Tian's face also turned red. He covered his face with his hands and was extremely embarrassed. This was the fear and worry in Jiang Tian's heart. It was the desire and worry in his heart. It was the anger and hatred in his heart. It was the beast thoughts and devil thoughts in his heart. However, this was also a part of him. It could only be suppressed and not erased. At this moment, he spoke without restraint and spoke of the beast thoughts in the depths of his heart. Jiang Tian was also helpless. I, Jiang Tian, wore a Taoist robe, had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, and was as handsome as a god. He was enshrouded in immortal light and divine splendor, and exuded a sacred aura like that of an immortal. He took a step forward and stepped on death of self, then flicked his sleeves and said coldly, "You're lusting after my body again. Despicable." Jiang Tian's old bones creaked, as if they were about to break and shatter. This is love. This was the resonance of the soul. Do you understand? Tell me, you don't understand love. Leifeng Pagoda, he collapsed. If we're talking about fake Taoism, you're even more disgusting than my brother. Jiang Tian lay on the ground like a salted fish. He didn't resist, but instead retorted and threatened endlessly. Now that we're evenly matched, I can't kill you. But one day I will kill you too for your fake Taoism. What's seeking immortality? What fighting for the great Tao? What climbing the long path of immortality? What's seeking immortality? What's seeking immortality? It's too tiring and meaningless. I'm going to enjoy the present and accompany the depraved mortal world. I'm going to live a carefree and unrestrained life. I'm going to ride my horse and enjoy the prosperity of the mortal world. Doesn't he smell good? Just you wait. You are not as despicable and shameless as I am. You are bound by all kinds of morals and morals. You are definitely not as good as me. Pumph. As he threatened Jiang Tian, he winked at little Princess Dongfang Ying and said with a smile, "Fairy, I wonder if you're interested in discussing with me the knowledge of dual cultivation that can not only increase one's cultivation, but also make one feel good from head to toe. Even the ends of one's hair are trembling in pleasure?" Seeing Jiang Tian being so frivolous and wild, she was so scared that she shrank her head and hid behind Princess Mou. Alright, you know the current situation. Go and take your missions. Jiang Tian coughed and said seriously, I'm going to save the Lin family's ancestor. Jiang Tian had deep facial features, sharp eyebrows, starry eyes, a high nose bridge and thin lips, revealing a bit of fickleness. Coupled with his eyes that were as calm as an ancient well and emotionless as the great Tao of the heavens, he was like a vast immortal from the 9 heavens, giving people great pressure. Naturally, it's that little girl Dai. Previously, she humiliated me, turned her back on me, and looked down on me. Watch how I deal with her and tease her. On Jiang Tian's face that was like a withered tree bark, there was a playful expression as he laughed. Then I'll go with Marquis Lin to save the Lin family. Jiang Tian nodded. Then he looked calmly at Jiang Tian and said in a deep voice, You'd better behave yourself to Lin Dai. Don't humiliate our names, otherwise, we'll take care of you together. We 3 as one, although we can't kill you, but we can't avoid all kinds of torture and pain of the flesh. In the case of doppelgangers, each had its own consciousness, soul perception, and if the original self and Tao self attacked, the pain would be borne by him. So annoying. After fighting for a lifetime, can't I enjoy it? Jiang Tian was depressed, and then like a strange bird, he soared into the air and flew in the direction of White Flower Peak. Beast. Low level. Jiang Tian snorted, his face full of disdain. His figure flashed, and suddenly disappeared from where he was. The next moment, he appeared thousands of miles away from Jianghan City. His figure flickered, and like lightning he rushed toward the place where the Lin family's ancestor was in seclusion. Jiang Tian's body flashed, and he used the heaven-deceiving mysterious technique, turning into Lin Yang's appearance. Even the temperament of a dandy was the same, and Lin Yang was stunned. Jiang Tian's body laughed and said, Lin Yang, you stay in the princess's palace and protect the princess. I have to stay? Why do you want me to stay? Lin Yang was dissatisfied. He puffed out his chest and said proudly, Now I'm at the peak of the Aurus core stage, half a step away from the nascent soul stage. I've crushed Yun Xiao, the southern border genius, and can fight. Now that Goyu is in danger, I can show off my power and save the damsel in distress, and let her see me in a new light. It doesn't matter if you appear or not. The most important thing is that I don't appear by the marquee side. Jiang Tian was unperturbed, smiling meaningfully. What do you mean? Take me with you, and I won't be a burden to you. Lin Yang was confused. Rotten wood can't be carved. Jiang Tian's body shook his head helplessly and said with a wry smile, Why don't you understand? Of course you can't go. If you go, who am I to follow the marquis? With that, he strode out of the door with Lin Hanqing. What do you mean? Behind him, Lin Yang looked at eldest Princess Mou and asked. It's very simple. This time, the enemy really wants to kill your father. If Mr. Jiang follows the marquis, the enemy won't attack. The other party is luring the enemy to go deeper, and Mr. Jiang is also luring the enemy to go deeper. Eldest Princess Mou quickly figured out the crux of the matter and smiled. She looked at the dark sky filled with dark clouds, and a trace of worry appeared on her pretty face. She sighed and said, The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Both sides are using the same trick. I just don't know who is the mantis and who is the oriole this time. That's 9 semigod realm warriors. However, she knew that no matter what the outcome was, the great change in the Empire's situation would begin tonight. Chapter 1904. Outside the Princess Royal's palace. Seeing Jiang Tian come out, Zhang Linfeng hurriedly jumped down from the flood dragon carriage and quickly went to greet them. He stared blankly for a moment and said, My young Marv, where is Teacher Jiang? How did you solve the problem tonight? Please tell me. Jiang Tian acted like Lin Yang in the past. He slapped Zhang Linfeng's face, making his mouth bleed. He said coldly, Dog slave, is this something you can ask? You are a servant, a consecrate. Do I need to report to you how the Lin family solved the problem? Young master, why are you? Zhang Linfeng was shocked and angry at the same time. He couldn't believe it. There was a trace of killing intent deep in his eyes. Even if Lin Yang was very arrogant and foppish, he was only arrogant to those who had no power or low cultivation. In the past, he was very polite to him, the head of the consecrator group. Why was he like this today? Was this the mentality of the strong after the breakthrough? Zhang Linfeng was confused and couldn't understand. He wanted to kick Lin Yang to death, but considering that there would be a decisive battle tonight, he naturally didn't dare to complicate things. He could only endure for the time being. You blabber on and on every day, spouting as much nonsense as farts. This little marquis has had enough of you. Jiang Tian was also a big foppish playboy on earth in his previous life. When he played the role of a young master, he had both the spirit and the body. He pointed at Zhang Linfeng's nose and shouted, "What are you talking about? Can't I hit you? Don't you agree? I am at least in the peak gold core realm, a genius of Nanjiang, and your master. Hurry up and drive the carriage. Go quickly. Go to the Golden Sand City and meet with Goyu." As he spoke, he flung his sleeves and strode forward with Lin Hanqing to board the Flood Dragon horse flying carriage. Zhang Linfeng was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He gritted his teeth and raised his whip. The dragon horse soared into the sky and flew past numerous tall palaces, rows upon rows of streets and buildings, flying out of the city as fast as lightning. Inside the carriage, Jiang Tian puffed out his chest. His words were filled with arrogance and disdain. Even his tone and expression were vivid. "I'm a golden core paragon, half a step away from the nascent soul realm, the #1 genius of the southern border who crushed Zi Yunxiao. Who can stop me? Tonight, my little darling Goyu is in danger, so I, the little marquis, can show off my invincible might and be the hero saving the damsel in distress. I'll kill all sorts of rascals and make her see me in a new light. Humph, a mere semi-god realm cultivator. I can send him flying with one punch. Idiot, you are just a golden core cultivator and a nascent soul cultivator. A divinity transformation cultivator can kill you with one finger. Good, good, good. You dare to slap me? I'll make you kneel and beg for mercy later. You even want Yun, or to humiliate that little sister in front of you. Let's see how you react." At this moment, Zhang Linfeng sneered. His son, Zhang Muyun, has been in love with Lin Dyer for a long time, but Lin Yang looked down on Zhang Muyun and Zhang Linfeng. He humiliated and blamed them many times, which made Zhang Linfeng hate Lin Yang to the bone. At this moment, new and old grudges attacked his heart. Zhang Linfeng only felt his anger burning, and his teeth almost broke from clenching. "Master Zhang, I apologize to you on behalf of my son. After all, the Lin family is in great trouble, and Lin Yang is anxious, so he offended you just now. You are a magnanimous person, please don't blame him." Lin Hanqing was also acting as himself. He sighed with shame. "Don't hold a grudge because of my son's offense. This is all because I didn't teach my son well. When we rescue Madam, Miss Goyu, and the other family members later, a great battle is inevitable. I hope you will do your best and fight bravely. Marguerite, you worry too much." Zhang Linfeng hurriedly said with sincerity. "As the saying goes, one must be loyal to the monarch. I take the Lin family's offerings and eat the Lin family's spiritual grains. Naturally, I will fight for the Lin family and will not hide anything. The little marquis is young and impetuous. He is very affectionate and lovable. Why would I bicker with him? That's good, that's good." Lin Hanqing smiled. "If you can rescue Madam and the others, I will definitely reward you handsomely. I have been loyal to the Lin family for 100 years. Although we are master and servant in name, the marquis treats me like a brother." Zhang Linfeng seemed to be moved even by himself. "It is my duty to serve the Lin family. Marquis Lin, you don't have to be so polite." "That's right, then I won't give it to you." Jiang Tian suddenly laughed evilly. Zhang Linfeng was stunned. "In my opinion, Master Linfeng's talent is mediocre and extremely incompetent. Although he has worked hard, he has not made any contributions. Compared to Mr. Jiang, the difference is too great. It's like the difference between heaven and earth. Little Princess Dongfang Ying's chronic illness was cured by him, right? It was also him who helped me cultivate and reach the peak. It was the old man who fought for the herb garden at Tiger Head Ridge at the banquet tonight. Jiang Tian was spouting nonsense. He laughed. In my opinion, you should be more respectful to him normally. Kowtow 3 times and 9 times, follow the etiquette of a disciple and call him Dao Ancestor. Who knows, he might be happy and casually give you a few pointers. Wouldn't you be able to reach the peak like me? The little Marquis has a point. Zhang Linfeng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. However, he took the opportunity to ask casually. Mr. Jiang is indeed a talented person. If the old man were to say, he should be the one to personally rescue the Lin family tonight. Where did he go? He went to rescue the elder ancestor. Lin Hanqing smiled bitterly. He can't split himself. With 3 powers erupting at the same time, he can't help but lose sight of one. We'll go rescue the Lin family and Miss Goyu first. If we can't beat the enemy, we'll stall for time and wait for Mr. Jiang to return. That's the only way. Zhang Linfeng's eyes flashed with a trace of cunningness. He looked at the always-on communication device and thought to himself, Purple Marquis should have received the message and know about Lin Hanqing's plans. On the tower of Jianghan City, under the escort of a few southern nobles, Purple Marquis' black hair fluttered in the night wind. He stood with his hands behind his back. His back was straight like a peerless sword. His face was stern and his eyes were bright as he looked at the dragon carriage speeding out of the city. Landlord Wang stepped forward and said in a low voice, The divine sense mark I left on Jiang Xiqing shows that she is indeed heading out of the city. She's headed straight for Maple City. She shouldn't be in Lin Hanqing's dragon carriage. Do it. Lin Hanqing is alone and there's that trash Lin Yang. If we don't kill them now, when will we? Marquis Shanshui was so anxious that he scratched his head and couldn't help but urge. His son Li Ludao was already seriously injured and was like a cripple. He would definitely lose the hidden dragon trials and lose his title. As the saying goes, those who have nothing to lose are not afraid of wearing shoes. If Purple Marquis was the one who wanted to rebel the most and steal the royal family's land, he would definitely be the second. Yes, Marquis, let's rebel. Rebel? The Eastern royal family has always wanted to weaken us. If we don't rebel, we'll just sit there and wait for death. Let's kill Lin Hanqing first, and then the 23 nobles of southern Jiang will head straight for the royal city. The nobles couldn't help but shout. Wait a little longer. Purple Marquis's face was as cold as iron as he shouted. At the same time, the communication jade card at his waist rang again. Purple Marquis took a look and finally confirmed it. He laughed coldly and said, The news is true. Jiang Xiqing and Lin Hanqing have already separated. Lin Hanqing has just reached the soul formation stage and Lin Yang is only at the peak stage of the golden core stage. Killing them will be as easy as killing chickens. Everyone looked at each other and saw the excitement and anticipation on each other's faces. Marquis, are you going to do it yourself? I don't know if I can follow and watch. Marquis Shanshui was like a fly rubbing its hands together and said with anticipation, that Xinyun Marquis has humiliated me again and again tonight. I really want to see his miserable appearance when he's killed. Chapter 1905. Without the imperial family's order, the vassals are not allowed to kill each other. Purple Shan Marquis smiled sinisterly. We are all loyal to the Eastern imperial family. How could we go against the imperial order? We are nobles, upper-class people with a clean background. How can we be the ones to kill? Who will do it? Lin Hanqing, that old man, is at least at the spirit-severing realm. Only a spirit-severing realm cultivator can do it. Marquis Shanshui anxiously asked. Ask a half-step saint to do it. Suddenly, Purple Shan Marquis's expression became serious. He faced a small city outside of the city and knelt down, sending a message with his divine sense. Boom. The small city named Stone Tablet City was one of the 13 cities. It was only 1/10 the size of Jianghan City. The people living there were also rogue cultivators and mortals. However, at this moment, a monstrous aura soared to the sky, shaking the heavens and the earth. Between the heaven and earth, there seemed to be the sound of the grand Tao and the laws trembling. The pressure caused many vassals to be on the verge of collapsing and almost crawling on the ground. Peak spirit-severing realm, comparable to a half-step saint. At this moment, many vassals were frightened. This peak spirit-severing expert sent a message with his divine sense. Purple Sean Markey, today, I will lend you a hand. However, in the future, if you can succeed, you must remember your promise. In the next moment, Xiao Chen's figure flickered, and he disappeared from where he stood. In a flash, he was already 1,000 miles away. His speed was so fast that it made Purple Marquis and the others gasp in amazement. He chased after the flood dragon horse flying carriage that Jiang Tian was on. Who is this person? Why do I feel a demonic aura soaring to the sky? Suddenly, Landlord Wang frowned and asked. This person is one of the 4 protectors of the Myriad Demons Temple, Sir God Qi Ling. Purple Sean Marquis's words shocked everyone. There was a dead silence. Even Landlord Wang of the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion was stunned. So, Purple Sean Marquis is working with the demon race? Especially Marquis Shan Shui, he was so shocked that his face turned pale. The Myriad Demon Palace was a force of the demon race that emerged from the evil-infested ridge and the critical Grand Canyon 300 years ago. Its development was extremely fast and its experts were as numerous as the clouds. They burned, killed, and plundered everywhere. The Eastern Imperial family had joined forces with the feudal lords to encircle and annihilate them many times, but they had never succeeded. Instead, they had suffered heavy losses and their treasury was empty. In the pantheon of demons, Demon King Han Guang was the most powerful. He had a very mysterious origin. 300 years ago, he appeared out of nowhere and defeated many great demons. It was as if he had jumped out of a crack in a rock. He was said to be a saint of the Void Return realm and was extremely powerful. He was so fierce that he could stop children from crying at night. He had defeated numerous monsters. His 4 half-saint protectors and 13 late divine lord elders were all supreme elders of the monster race. Each one of them had experienced hundreds of battles and were individuals that could stand on their own. In terms of strength, they were able to suppress ordinary dukes. As for the Foundation Establishment Realm and Golden Core Realm monsters, they also joined him. There were countless of them. It could be said that thousands of demons and evils had gathered. This divine Lord Qi Ling was one of the 4 protectors under Demon King Han Guang. He was a Qilin beast with the bloodline of an ancient divine beast. It was said that he had 3,000 years of life and 1,000 years of cultivation. His magical power was extremely profound and his divine abilities were unpredictable. He had killed many descendants of feudal lords. That year, when he was besieged by an army of tens of thousands of cultivators led by Fang Jinlong, he fought his way out and calmly retreated. It doesn't matter if he is a demon or a human. As long as he supports Purple Sean Marquis, he is one of us. Landlord Wang was the first to regain his senses. He laughed and said with great enthusiasm, "No wonder Purple Sean Marquis is so generous." To deal with a small Jinyuan Marquis, he sent out 9 divine lords. So, he has the backing of the Myriad Demon Palace. This time, Purple Sean Marquis did not use his own divine transformation realm divine lords to deal with Lin Hanqing. However, Lin Hanqing was still unable to attend to one thing and lose sight of another. Now they finally understood. I heard that the half-saint Qi Ling once fought with Fang Jinlong 100 years ago. He was able to reduce Fang Jinlong's cultivation by a small level with 1 palm. Fang Jinlong had to cultivate for 30 years to return to his peak. That Lin Hanqing is inferior to Fang Jinlong by more than just a little bit. How could he withstand a light blow from him? Marquis Shanshui laughed with exultation. With the support of the Myriad Demon Palace, Purple Sean Marquis is powerful. The throne is within reach. The feudal lords all prayed and were satisfied with their success. The dragon horse flying carriage traveled 1,000 miles in the blink of an eye. Soon, they were out of Jianghan City and the 13 surrounding cities. They flew past fields and paths, out of the Shenji forest, and over the Red Rock Basin. In the distance, the majestic golden sand city of the southern border was shining brightly. Even if they were 100,000 miles away, they could still see it clearly. This was the Zhuohuang Peak, a large mountain range in the southern part of the empire. The terrain was complicated, and the gullies were bottomless. The peaks were like the corpses of true dragons, strange and dangerous, but magnificent. Moreover, there were cracks in the demonic world that constantly released billowing demonic chi. Many demonic beasts, including large nascent soul stage beasts, roamed around. Therefore, ordinary nascent soul stage cultivators didn't dare to stay here. It was said to be a dangerous place with few people. At this time, Jiang Tian suddenly said, "Taoist Lin Feng, isn't the direction a bit wrong? Shouldn't we go to the Black Stone Forest where the Lin family is? If we go straight, I'm afraid we'll miss the stone forest." Zhang Linfeng slowly lowered the dragon horse flying carriage and jumped down. He stood on the hillside and smiled eerily. "This is the right direction." "The right direction?" Jiang Tian got down and looked around. He sneered. "Do you want to rebel?" "Of course." Zhang Linfeng smiled. "Young Marquis, this is the way to send you to the Western Paradise. Don't you know?" As soon as he said that, the dragon horse flying carriages that followed him also landed. "Let's send the young Marquis and young Marquis on their way." There were a total of 8 peak stage nascent soul stage masters. Their nascent souls trembled, Dharma laws rumbled, and their fields were spread. Some were ghostly, some were silver, some were black, and some were white. They all looked unfriendly and their eyes were cold. They occupied the sky and the ground and surrounded Jiang Tian and Lin Fan in all directions. That wasn't all. A peak stage soul formation overlord in a loose robe and a bronze mask was standing on a mountain 50 miles away, letting out terrifying noises like a supersonic fighter jet. He stood there with his hands behind his back and stared at Jiang Tian and Jiang Chen coldly. He was far more powerful than Zhang Linfeng and Lin Hanqing, but he didn't seem to have any intention of attacking. Zhang Linfeng, you really want to rebel? The Lin family has treated you well all these years, but you betrayed them. You're really an ingrate. Jiang Tian seemed to be enraged and asked coldly. "I was originally one of the Purple Marquis men. I sneaked into the Jinyuan Marquis mansion as a spy. I wanted to kill you and your father one day. The salary I got from the Purple Marquis, the mansion, the land, the magic treasures and pills, and even the crystal beauties were 10 times, 100 times more than what the Lin family gave me. How can you say that I betrayed you?" Zhang Linfeng smiled triumphantly. He expected to see anger, panic, and even pity on Jiang Tian and Lin Fan's faces. Unexpectedly, Jinyuan Marquis forced a smile and said, "Sure enough, you're right. This kid wanted to rebel long ago." This time, Zhang Linfeng was quite surprised. His face froze and he said in disbelief, "You already know?" "What?" Chapter 1906. Boom. The world shook and dozens of miles were filled with their terrifying energy. How terrifying would it be when a second-level soul formation cultivator and 8 peak-stage nascent soul cultivators worked together? Not even 100 normal nascent soul cultivators would be as powerful as them. At this moment, even though they hadn't made a move yet, just the pressure from their auras was like a mountain and an ocean. Even though Lin Hanqing was protected by his own protective barrier and Jiang Tian's formless laws, he still felt as if he was about to suffocate. At this moment, Lin Hanqing was a bit panicked as he saw the nascent soul realm and the soul formation realm coming at him. He didn't have absolute confidence in Jiang Tian. Zhang Linfeng is so powerful. He's terrifying to the extreme. Can Mr. Jiang really fight against Zhang Linfeng and the 8 nascent soul cultivators? Mr. Jiang's move to lure the enemy in is indeed a bit reckless. Why don't we run for our lives now? In that split second, Lin Hanqing's mind spun rapidly, and many ideas came one after another. This is indeed the divine origin realm. Any soul formation cultivator or nascent soul cultivator can set up a realm or a forbidden area. Nascent soul cultivators and soul formation cultivators at such a level would be considered elites in the Little South Heavenly Realm or even the entire Milky Way. And yet, they can only be Purple Shirt Marquis's dog here. They can't even be considered a giant. Jiang Tian looked calm after seeing that, but he was also a bit emotional. Zhang Linfeng's Black Wind Dharma laws were not only terrifying when it came to killing enemies, it was also a void-shattering art. It was as dark and deep as a black hole, as if it could connect time and space in the world. After a sharp sound, he had already broken the air and was a mile away from Jiang Tian in a blink. The other nascent soul cultivators also released their Dharma treasures and spread out, quickly approaching Jiang Tian as fast as lightning, trapping him in the middle. Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing were quickly surrounded, as if they were in a hopeless situation. Jiang, we will only kill Lin Hanqing. You can submit to the Purple Marquis. The Purple Marquis is ambitious and magnanimous. He can forgive your previous offense. Zhang Linfeng tried to persuade Jiang Tian to surrender. His attitude was high and mighty, as if letting Jiang Tian serve Purple Marquis was a great favor. Jiang Tian, however, didn't say a word and already punched out. Rumble. The nascent soul inside Jiang Tian's body uttered a roar, shattering the chains of the heaven-deceiving mystic art. A terrifying aura was fired into the sky. In the next moment, the 9 revolving divine disc appeared behind Jiang Tian. It was dazzling and the 9 divine laws overlapped each other like a sun. It appeared for the first time in Saint Origin World, tens of thousands of light years away from the Milky Way. As soon as the 9 revolutions divine disc appeared, it was like an eternally running engine, providing Jiang Tian with an endless stream of terrifying power. He punched out. His fist was like a dragon, unparalleled. Clang. The forbidden area created by the 4 nascent soul cultivators was the first to bear the brunt of the attack and shattered like paper. They didn't even have time to activate their protective Dharma treasures before they were killed by Jiang Tian's fist. Their bodies, nascent souls and divine souls exploded in an instant. Glittering flesh rained, broken bones and blood spilled everywhere. Colorful pieces of divine souls and nascent souls danced in the air. Jiang Tian still didn't use any Dharma power this time. He only used Dharma laws to drive his body. It was essence chi and pure strength, but it was still terrifying. The terrifying fist energy easily penetrated their forbidden area, their bodies and their soul energy and smashed into a 1,000-foot mountain behind them. The mountain was filled with fiend chi. There were natural rocks, mountains and fiend chi entangled with each other. It was supposed to be indestructible, but it was still brutally broken and half of the mountain collapsed. The tens of Horus Core stage demonic beasts that were entrenched on top of it were instantly reduced to ashes. What? He's so powerful! This scene stunned everyone. The remaining 4 nascent soul stage cultivators all revealed a look of deep wariness and were on full alert. Even the cultivator with the bronze mask who was at the peak of the soul formation stage was surprised. His golden eyes behind the mask were filled with disbelief. Suddenly he snickered and said, "Be careful. He's not Lin Yang. He's Jiang Xiqing." "If that's the case, I won't pretend anymore." Jiang Tian chuckled and performed the art of deceiving the heavens. His face changed and he returned to his original appearance. His facial features were well-defined and his eyes were deep. His hair was gray and he looked gloomy with a strange charm. "It's Jiang Xiqing. But he shouldn't be so powerful." Zhang Linfeng and the other 4 nascent soul cultivators were startled. "It's him. Just as I thought." Even the eyes of the demon race Sir God behind the bronze mask were filled with astonishment. Even though they knew Jiang Tian was powerful, they had never thought that Jiang Tian would be so powerful. He killed 4 nascent soul cultivators with one punch as if it were a piece of cake for him. It was an instant kill. At this moment, Jiang Tian had changed in their eyes. He was originally a little white rabbit that they could casually crush to death, yet he'd suddenly transformed into a peerless ferocious beast of the primeval times that bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Zhang Linfeng used the Black Wind Law to break through space. At the last moment, he moved more than 10 miles away, barely dodging the attack. However, he was still shaken by the aftershock of Jiang Tian's fist, and his skin cracked. The deity wailed, and the surrounding space distorted. That was a sign of the laws being unstable, and he was in a sorry state. He had thought that he could easily crush Chen Fan, but he had been beaten so badly. It was a great humiliation for Zhang Linfeng to be beaten so badly by a cultivator from another galaxy. He couldn't accept it at all. "You're courting death." Zhang Linfeng's eyes flashed with incomparable resentment. His face was incomparably gloomy, and his facial features were twisted and ferocious. He wished he could eat Jiang Tian's flesh and skin, grind his bones and scatter his ashes to vent his hatred. Jiang Tian grunted lightly as he executed the 1,000 lotus flower protection technique. The gunmetal divine laws transformed into 1,000 lotus petals as a defense, and they overlapped layer upon layer and were extremely dense and dense. They protected Lin Hanqing within them, and they were seamless and impenetrable. It could even resist the attack of a peak-stage soul formation cultivator for a while. Moreover, the 1,000 lotus flower formed a world of its own, allowing Lin Hanqing to move around freely without affecting his agility. "Ever since I came to this world, I've been walking on the path of becoming immortal. I've been hiding my strength for too long and I haven't used my fists and legs. My bones are getting rusty. Today I'll kill you all." Jiang Tian's face was as cold as iron. His calm gaze slowly released a strong murderous intent. After casting the 1,000 lotus protection art to protect Lin Hanqing, Jiang Tian finally had nothing to worry about. He could finally go all out. Boom! Jiang Tian pounced towards Zhang Linfeng and threw a punch, directly smashing a nascent soul stage cultivator in front of him into meat paste. Then he swept his leg out like a peerless heavenly blade, cutting another nascent soul stage cultivator in half. At this moment, every punch and kick of Jiang Tian's were powerful and heavy, and they were powerful beyond compare. "I'm a soul formation cultivator and you're just a rogue cultivator. You're no match for me." Black Wind Art of Extinction. Zhang Linfeng wasn't afraid. Instead, he was stimulated by the deaths of his fellow cultivators. He shouted angrily. The life essence of a god burned, and the laws of Black Wind surged and gushed out. They were like great rivers that stretched across heaven and earth, lingering around his body. In an instant, Black Wind surged, and it was incomparably cold. It froze everything, destroyed everything, and destroyed everything. The laws of Black Wind quickly turned into 9 phantoms that were 1,000 feet tall and flashed out from behind Zhang Linfeng. They opened their bloody mouths and waved their arms, attacking Jiang Tian. "Be careful, Mr. Jiang." Lin Hanqing yelled. That was Zhang Linfeng's ultimate skill and one of his most terrifying and brutal attacks. He turned into a ferocious fiend with the power of the laws of Black Wind, killing and destroying everything. Even a soul formation overlord would have to be careful when facing this attack. If anything went wrong, they would die. Chapter 1907. At the same time, the remaining 2 nascent soul cultivators released all their Dharma treasures and Dharma artifacts as if they didn't cost anything. Flying swords, lightning hammers, giant cauldrons, furnaces, flower baskets, precious pearls, alms bowls. There were more than 10 of them, and they were like supersonic fighter jets that emitted rumbling sounds as they tore through space and tore through the sky, charging towards Jiang Tian as if they were lightning fast. Those Dharma artifacts were basically Tao artifacts, and each of them had extremely powerful Dharma powers. They came from Purple Marquis's treasury. But at this moment, all of them were released to kill Jiang Tian. After all, Jiang Tian's performance was too strong. A single mishap and they would die an unnatural death. What was the use of Dharma treasures if they lost their lives? Soul Formation Cultivator? Do you know how many soul formation cultivators like you I've killed? Jiang Tian sighed softly. He raised his right hand and slammed it down. 9 transformations of the divine plate. Once those words came out, a door seemed to have been opened. Behind him, the spinning disk that looked like a galaxy suddenly began to shine with dazzling light. It was almost like the immortal light of the eternal immortal world, causing all of the surrounding cultivators to feel ashamed of themselves and their hearts to pound in fear. Above the divine disk, the shadows of the divine rules, thick earth, lightning, vermilion bird, mysterious water, Gingjin, all lit up one by one. It was like an eternal galaxy, like the awakening of the ancient gods that created the world. They then intertwined into a ball of light and poured into Jiang Tian's spirit embryo. Boom! The moment they lit up and went in, there seemed to be invisible chains around Jiang Tian's body that were broken. An unimaginable, invincible, unreachable, and unbelievably terrifying power erupted from Jiang Tian's body. Flying swords and treasures around Jiang Tian fell, but they were bounced away by an invisible barrier before they could get 100 feet away. It was like water splashing on a glass shield and exploding in the air. Streaks of azure lightning bloomed in the air. Those were the lightning caused by the collision of Dharma laws. Jiang Tian's body suddenly expanded, becoming tens of thousands of feet tall. At this moment, his entire body seemed to be made of real gold. That golden light contained the aura of eternity, the aura of immortality of the sun and moon. It was incomparably thick and condensed, and it was far from what it was before. In the eyes of everyone, he seemed to be so tall and so huge. Every inch of his skin and every strand of his hair flickered with eternal brilliance, and they all emitted a chaotic aura that seemed capable of splitting the heavens and earth apart. Rumble! The enormous divine will spun above his head, and the power of the 9 divine laws layered on Jiang Tian's body. His aura skyrocketed, breaking through the early stage of the nascent soul realm, the middle stage of the nascent soul realm, all the way to the peak stage of the nascent soul realm. This, Zhang Linfeng's law of black wind demon god, was like a chicken egg at the foot of Mount Tai in front of Jiang Tian's figure, unable to withstand a single blow and incomparably insignificant. For a moment, Zhang Linfeng and the other 2 nascent soul stage cultivators felt chills all over their bodies, as if they had fallen into a glacier at the bottom of the North Pole. Their eyes were wide open and their legs were shaking. They almost turned around and ran away. How can a mere nascent soul stage cultivator possess such a vast array of laws? He's invincible. Not even soul formation cultivators are a match for him. Strands of understanding arose in their hearts, and they instantly fell into boundless terror, trembling, and despair. This is? The eyes of the Divine Lord with the bronze mask suddenly widened. Zhang Linfeng, you've schemed against me time and time again. Most importantly, you even schemed against my daughter twice. This time, I'll destroy your power and capture you alive. I'll kill you completely in front of billions of people in the empire. Jiang Tian lowered his head slightly. Every word he said contained Dharma laws, shaking the Grand Tao and creating lightning bolts in the air. Sound waves rolled and green thunderbolts dashed. Under Jiang Tian's voice that sounded like the great Tao, Zhang Linfeng had burned his god, consumed his essence qi, and used all of his cultivation to perform the black wind extermination technique. The 9 demogorgons he had created collapsed like an avalanche, turning into powder. Zhang Linfeng was so frightened that his legs gave out. He fell to the ground from 1,000 meters in the sky like a bird with broken wings. Divine Lord, please spare my life. I'm willing to testify and expose Purple Marquis's scheme. At this moment, Zhang Linfeng was scared to the point that he lay on the ground like a toad, banging his head on the ground as he cried out with tears flowing down his face. That was terrifying. The power Jiang Tian showed was definitely much more powerful than his. Especially when Jiang Tian performed the 9 transformations of the divine plate and melted the 9 divine laws into the chaotic divine laws. He felt a power that seemed to be able to split the world. It was a power that was far more powerful than his. They weren't even on the same level. It was like an ant facing a human, or a mortal facing a real god. He felt that he was small, weak, and useless. An instinctive fear from the bottom of his heart completely grasped his body. Even a god couldn't resist, he only wanted to surrender. His roar is so terrifying. That's terrifying. Divine Lord, we surrender. The other 2 nascent soul cultivators also fell to the ground at the same time. They trembled and spat out blood, but there was a hint of green in the blood. It was apparently bile. The two nascent soul cultivators were scared out of their wits. At this moment, the entire Zwang Peak, within a radius of 10,000 miles, was dead silent. Countless monsters that were hiding in the dark were originally fierce and cruel. But at this moment, all of them were lying on the ground with their heads on the ground and trembling. The divine lord with the bronze mask narrowed his golden eyes and a cold light shot out of his eyes. Monstrous monster aura and murderous intent surged out slowly, as if they could destroy the world. Ha! Interesting. Jiang Xiqing, I'll kill you. Suddenly, the bronze-masked divine sovereign chuckled. Every word he uttered shook the heavens and the moon as he attacked. However, he didn't attack Jiang Tian, but Zhang Linfeng. Go to hell. Divine Lord Qi Ling, who was wearing a bronze mask, took out a black saber and slashed at Zhang Linfeng without saying a word. The saber tore the sky apart. Zhang Linfeng was just a spy for Purple Marquis. He was nothing to the pantheon of monsters, which was full of soul formation cultivators. Divine Lord Qi Ling didn't attack personally because he wanted to let them exhaust Jiang Tian's Dharma power and expose Jiang Tian's power and trump cards. It was like a team killing monsters in a game. The monsters were strong and the tank was the first to attack. He knew his trump cards, so of course, he would save them for last. Zhang Linfeng's death wasn't a big deal. However, he was an important person who was related to Purple Marquis. If he fell into Jiang Tian's hands and was handed over to the royal family would have a good reputation. That would be tantamount to giving the royal family a tainted witness, obtaining evidence of Marquis Purple Robe attacking the feudal lords and plotting rebellion. Marquis Purple Robe would instantly fall into a passive position. Purple Marquis was still useful to Divine Lord Qi Ling and the others. They had to protect him. The monster clan was ferocious and Sir God Qi Ling was an almighty with many years of experience. He could be said to be an ambitious and ruthless figure. He was resolute, decisive, and ruthless. He went all the way and killed Zhang Linfeng to cut off the chain of evidence. Chapter 1908. So ruthless. You want to kill me? At that moment, Zhang Linfeng's face turned pale and there was a pungent smell between his legs. Even ants would drag out their lives, let alone humans. Jiang Tian had only captured Zhang Linfeng and asked him to be a witness. He might have had a chance to redeem himself and live. But Sir God Qi Ling had killed him directly. Kill! Within a 100-mile radius, there were tens of thousands of ferocious demonic beasts. Among them, there were more than 100 original infant realm demonic beasts who had transformed. Every one of them was on par with Zhang Linfeng. There were even 5 almighties in the early stage of divine transformation realm. They roared at the same time and soared to the sky from all directions. Then they pounced on Jiang Tian. In an instant, the earth shook and the mountains shook. Murderous cries filled the sky. Billowing demonic aura ran through the universe like a long river. The terrifying murderous aura shook the sky. Countless figures of ferocious demonic beasts, magic treasures and rules attacked Jiang Tian from all directions like meteorites. It was as though they could shatter the firmament and sink the land. A bunch of 4-legged beasts and feathered birdmen. You want to kill me? Facing this attack that was enough to destroy the world, Jiang Tian's expression was extremely calm. He lowered his head and flicked his finger. With a bang, Sir God Qi Ling's saber shadow exploded in the air. Then he stretched out his hand and grabbed. It was as though he had transformed into a god who ruled over the universe. Everything in the universe, including the great ways, was under his control. He was omniscient, omnipotent, and meticulous. Zhang Linfeng only felt that the scenery in front of his eyes was rapidly changing, the world was spinning, and he was actually caught by Jiang Tian in an instant, brought to the front, and casually thrown into the already open Thousand Lotus. It's open. The first kill belongs to me. A soul formation stage feathered serpent demon saw the Thousand Lotus flower open and thought that it had found an opportunity. A human-like sinister smile appeared on its face as its body swayed and it reverted to its original form. It flapped its pair of fleshy wings and swooped down like a crossbow. It opened its bloody mouth and dived toward the 1,000 lotus flower. Bang bang bang. Zhang Linfeng and Lin Hanqing attacked at the same time. They used the law of black wind and the purple cloud palm, but they couldn't do anything to Quetzalcoatl at all. Instead, they were forced to retreat and spit out blood. Unexpectedly, the 1,000 lotus flowers suddenly closed. The feathered serpent demon's head, which was like a millstone, suddenly fell to the ground. Blood spurted out, and its pair of monstrous vertical pupils stared at the two of them with resentment. Its mouth slowly opened and closed. Heed. This golden lotus is amazing. Zhang Linfeng was stunned. He looked at the head of the winged serpent demon and revealed a relieved smile. Then he looked at Lin Hanqing. Suddenly, killing intent bloomed in his eyes and a malicious smile appeared on his face. He suddenly took a few steps forward and the laws of black wind around him surged. Suddenly, the temperature inside the 1,000 lotus flower plummeted. The snake demon's blood instantly froze into ice crystals like agate. Its head was covered with a layer of white frost, as if it had just been taken out of the freezer. Taoist Linfeng, don't be rash. How would you know if Mr. Jiang would wipe out the demon race's divine sovereign as well? Be careful that he doesn't settle accounts with you later. I want to see if Mr. Jiang is testing you. Cold sweat rolled down Lin Hanqing's forehead like a waterfall. He flung his sleeves and said with a proud expression, "Marquis, what are you talking about? You must be joking. Purple Marquis is cruel and ruthless. He is definitely not a good master. I have already come to my senses and abandoned the darkness for the light." Thinking of Jiang Tian's power, Zhang Linfeng felt a chill in his heart. He was a little uncertain about the outcome of this fierce battle. His killing intent receded like a tide. He put on a flattering smile and cupped his hands. Marquis has Mr. Jiang's help. Purple Marquis is no match for Marquis. He is like an ant trying to shake a tree. I am willing to sacrifice my life to protect Marquis. I only hope that Marquis can say a few good words to Mr. Jiang in the future and save my life. Of course, of course. Humans are not sages. How can they not make mistakes? Lin Hanqing hurriedly agreed, but he was secretly on his guard. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion came from outside. The two of them were startled and quickly looked outside with their immortal will. They saw that Jiang Tian had already retracted his Dharma form and turned into a middle-aged cultivator in an azure robe with white hair and a pair of deep and calm eyes. Jiang Tian crashed into the battle array formed by 10,000 monsters like Gong crashing into Mount Buzhou. Countless monsters, including the nascent soul beasts in human form, exploded into blood mist in the sky. Countless broken limbs fell like rain. The next moment, Jiang Tian performed the speed of the Kunpeng and turned into a bright golden dragon-shaped curve. He soared into the sky and landed behind a soul formation realm demon lord of the Iron Scorpion at an unbelievable angle. Without saying a word, he slapped the demon lord's head. Azure thunder exploded and poured down like an ocean, completely covering the demon lord. Thunderbolts were the best at suppressing evils. The sturdy body of the demon lord of the Iron Scorpion race, which could withstand thousands of nuclear explosions, was directly blasted apart by the lightning. Even his physical body, venom, and god were turned into flying ashes. Even a wisp of remnant soul didn't manage to escape in time and exploded. The second soul formation realm demon, lord of the monster race, had died. And yet, that was only the beginning. Jiang Tian turned into the Kunpeng and performed extremely fast. He flapped his wings and seemed to be able to travel across the universe. He dodged countless attacks from Dharma treasures and even Divine Lord Qi Ling Slash. Then, he appeared behind another soul formation realm demon, lord of the Pantheon of Monsters. Divine Lord, please spare my life. Divine Lord, you are powerful and unpredictable. This old man can introduce you to the Monster King and work together. That soul formation realm demon lord was scared out of his wits and shouted. But it was too late. Jiang Tian was expressionless and his eyes were cold. He formed the purple thunder blade and slashed at the soul formation realm demon lord, turning his body, Dharma treasures and armor into ashes. The third divine lord of the monster race of the pantheon of monsters had died. Then, Jiang Tian performed the Kunpeng divine law again and appeared in front of the fourth divine lord of the monster race, as if he had traveled between two worlds. He then performed the red bird divine law without saying a word and formed an ocean of fire, burning the divine lord of the monster race with the bloodline of the ice dragon into ashes. After that, Jiang Tian performed the earth dragon law and summoned 3 mountains 500 miles away. Each of the mountains was heavy and carried the Dharma laws and grand Tao of that world. They weighed more than billions of tons and were strong enough to destroy a magnificent city like Jianghan City. They fell from the sky like meteorites. Boom! Screams of agony filled the sky, one after another. The sea of blood surged, and severed limbs were strewn across the void. The ground was littered with corpses, and the 1,000-foot ravine was filled with blood and corpses. Countless demons had died an unnatural death, and the world was filled with the pungent smell of blood. It had completely turned into hell. Swish, swish, swish. Many nascent soul cultivators turned into beams of light and ran away, even abandoning their bodies and Dharma treasures. They screamed in fear and begged for mercy, "Please, Divine Lord. The assassination of the pantheon of monsters has nothing to do with me. I was just passing by. Divine Lord, just kill Divine Lord Qi Ling. Why do you have to care about a small fry like me?" Right? Sir God Qi Ling forced me to kill you. Otherwise, he would wipe out my entire family. I was forced to do so. Seeing how powerful Jiang Tian was and how cruel he was, the remaining soul formation realm demon wanted to retreat. He rolled his eyes and retreated far away, as if he were ready to run away at any time. The ambush that Divine Lord Qi Ling had set up was completely destroyed. More than half of his troops were killed. It was a great loss. Jiang Siqing, fight with me one-on-one if you are capable. What are you if you don't dare to fight with me face to face? Divine Lord Qi Ling was exasperated when he saw that. He couldn't stand it and shouted. Chapter 1909. Divine Lord Qi Ling was a famous grand cultivator of the monster race in the entire empire. None of the lords would dare to fight against him. He wasn't any weaker than Fang Jinlong, the pillar of the empire. And yet, he had suffered a great loss because of Jiang Tian, a nobody and a rogue cultivator outside the galaxy. How could he be willing to accept that? He was one of the 4 guardians of the pantheon of monsters, and he was much more powerful than the other soul formation cultivators. The heavenly punishment blade in his hand was also extremely strange. He was confident that it could even break the bodies of peak-stage soul formation cultivators and half-saints. However, Jiang Tian used the advantage of the Kunpeng's extreme speed and avoided him from the beginning to the end. He didn't even pay attention to him, so he couldn't even catch up with him. He could only watch Jiang Tian kill all the generals under his command. "All right, do you want to die?" "As you wish." Jiang Tian laughed and faced Divine Lord Qi Ling. "Great. Humans are cunning and they only know how to play tricks. This time, you have a bit of our demon race's heroic and unruly demeanor." Divine Lord Qi Ling exclaimed, seeming to be quite proud of his monster bloodline. Then he swung his black blade. The black blood dissipating divine saber in his hand instantly buzzed and let out a dim black light. Demon aura enveloped Sir God Qi Ling in it. It was apparently a peerless Tao weapon, only half a step away from becoming a sacred weapon. A saint of the monster race had made it with the divine fiend blood steel, deep inside the fiend chi cracks 10,000 years ago. It was said that the blood of a divine fiend had been sprinkled on a mountain and turned into steel. After it was made into a weapon, it was extremely powerful and extremely sharp. It carried a bit of fiend chi and a bit of divine fiend power, which could kill soul formation cultivators. "Rise." At this moment, Jiang Tian's eyes became deep and boundless, as if he was an ancient god that created the world. He suddenly let out a soft shout. There were clouds and mist above his head and chaotic chi shot to the sky, forming 3 giant flowers that went straight to the sky. Of the 3 flowers, one was pitch black like a black hole, one was 5-colored, and one was flickering with golden light. They all took form and rose higher and higher. Every single one of them was 50 kilometers wide, like a huge cloud. His body, dharma laws, and soul energy were pushed to the peak. The tricolored flame burned brightly around Qin Fan. What is this? Inside the 1,000 lotuses, Lin Hanqing and Zhang Linfeng's pupils contracted. Their faces were filled with shock as if they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. 3 flowers at one's prominence? Could he be a return to Void Stage Great Sage? The remaining divine monarch of the demon clan was so scared that his face turned ashen. He shivered and slid 100 miles away. He activated all the magical treasures he had with him to protect himself. He's not a return to Void Stage Great Sage. He's only a nascent soul stage cultivator, but that's the limit of the nascent soul stage. Both his nascent soul's cultivation level and grade were extremely high. Peak nascent soul, and most likely an immortal grade nascent soul. Sir God Qiling was an experienced almighty. He had been through hundreds of battles and he was knowledgeable. He could tell the significance of the 3 flowers at one's prominence at a glance. Instantly, his face turned stern and his pupils shrank to the size of a needle tip. His body tensed up and he was alarmed. An unprecedented sense of danger rose in him. Throughout history, sacred-grade nascent soul cultivators were considered geniuses in the world, and there might not even be one in 1,000 years. A immortal-grade nascent soul was a legendary existence. It was ethereal and extremely difficult to form, like a true dragon in the sky. Since no immortal-grade nascent soul cultivators had ever appeared in the Saint Origin world, no one knew the real power of an immortal-grade nascent soul cultivator. And yet, according to some ancient records, the power of an immortal-grade nascent soul cultivator could be summed up in a word. It could suppress a soul formation cultivator. Then, seeing that Jiang Tian might have an immortal-grade nascent soul cultivator, Sir God Qiling immediately felt like he had cursed countless monsters and humans. Purple Marquis, that idiot. He's messing with me. Immortal-grade nascent souls are rare in the Saint Origin world. If Jiang Xiqing is just a rogue cultivator, how could she have one? Purple Marquis must have gotten the information wrong. That bastard. When the Monster King's plan is complete, the first person I'll kill is Purple Marquis. While Sir God Qiling was cursing in his mind, his divine treasures also shook. The god with the head of a Qilin and the body of a Qilin looked up to the sky and roared. He held the demon blade of heavenly punishment and earthly annihilation tightly with both hands and pushed his vast power to the extreme. His energy soared into the clouds and shook the sky as if it would never stop. Clang. Jiang Tian didn't say anything and threw a punch. That punch was simple and natural, like the grandpas on earth who practiced Tai Chi in the park. It was light and didn't carry the slightest murderous energy. However, its power was earth-shattering. Unimaginable. Boom! Between heaven and earth, space shattered, mountains and rivers shattered, and chaos roared. It was as if the sun and moon were hanging upside down, and the earth, fire, water, and wind were reenacting. Countless dazzling energy waves and god-law powers surged within 1,000 miles. The power of that punch was so shocking that it was beyond everyone's imagination. It was as if an ancient god had thrown a punch. Rumble! There were countless explosions in the air. That was the sound of the Dharma and Great Tao in the space collapsing. Countless nascent soul realm demons who couldn't dodge in time didn't even have time to scream before they were turned into blood mist. A huge fist mark was formed in the void. It was filled with chaotic chi, dark and misty. The fist mark flashed across the sky and went towards the Qilin 100 miles away. That punch is so terrifying. The divine lord of the monster race who had run 100 miles away trembled in fear and screamed. He killed 4 soul formation cultivators and countless nascent soul cultivators and golden core cultivators with his nascent soul level. Is God helping Purple Marquis and the Dongfang royal family? Countless monster race cultivators cried out in horror, their eyes trembling as if they had lost their parents. Is he still human? Zhang Linfeng's body shook in disbelief. When he first met Jiang Tian was covered in dust and his clothes were old. He didn't take him seriously at all, and even his son, Zhang Myun, dared to provoke him. But then, the power Jiang Tian showed was beyond his imagination. He was able to kill soul formation cultivators and mid-stage soul formation cultivators with ease when he was only a peak-stage nascent soul cultivator. That had completely overturned his worldview. That was too terrifying. Thinking of that, Zhang Linfeng was also frightened and cold sweat rolled down his back like a waterfall. Mr. Jiang was obviously pretending to be weak to lure the enemy in, and his target was Purple Marquis. If he hadn't been so calculative and turned hostile on the spot in his rage, how could she and her son bear his anger? They would probably have been smashed into meat paste on the spot. A deity-grade nascent soul cultivator. It really won't be like what we guessed before. He's not a cultivator from outside the galaxy, but a reincarnated grand cultivator from the deity realm in 9 heavens. Lin Hanqing's eyes were full of reverence as this thought appeared in his mind again. After Jiang Tian came to the Lin family, he improved the little princess's 9 yin body and achieved the balance of yin and yang, pushing her to the nascent soul level. He threw out a pill formula casually and made the ancient medicine hall treat him like a guest of honor. In just 4 months, he pushed Lin Hanqing to the soul formation level and Lin Yang to the golden core level and half a step away from the nascent soul level. He changed the purple cloud palm, Eastern Emperor finger and his main cultivation arts, turning something rotten into something magical. He even used the 12 divine sounds of Longhuan to break the eldest princess's inner demon. Each and every one of these things could be said to be miracles and miracles. It was unbelievable. Lin Hanqing thought of many explanations in private, but the most unbelievable one was that Jiang Tian was the reincarnation of a deity from the deity realm in 9 heavens. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such amazing vision and insight. And now, Jiang Tian had displayed the power of a deity-grade nascent soul with the 3 flowers at one's prominence and showed his trump card, which made him even more convinced of this speculation. Whether Jiang Tian's deity-grade nascent soul was born or cultivated, it was impossible outside the central galaxy or even in the divine origin world. It could only be in the deity realm in 9 heavens or the 9 celestial sects in the central galaxy. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.